Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, good evening, and hello. Thank you so much for joining this year's Max Scholarship reception. We are so excited to host you, and we hope that you enjoy what we have planned for the evening. As housekeeping, please keep your microphone muted if you are not speaking. If you are comfortable, please turn on your camera so that we can have an engaging and in-person-like feel to this virtual reception. For some initial introductions, I would like to introduce the core team for the Max Scholarships program. My name is Nahida Sahtoud, and supporting me are Sayed Wasti and Aisha Afzal, Vice Presidents of MSF. In addition to the team, Myrna Riyad has played an instrumental role this year providing guidance and support to the scholarships program and team. Yasmin brings her creativity to help us prepare some really cool gift boxes that will soon be shipped across Canada to all the winners. And of course, our finance and sponsorship team, Nasik, Amanallah, and Sayed Rizvi. Lastly, for shoutouts and intros, we can't forget about our tech and marketing team. This year, our team of developers completely revamped our Max Scholarship application portal. This was a huge undertaking with many weekends dedicated to this project. So a quick shout out to Abdullah, Taha, Mutaki, Hadi, and Maher. And of course, Sana Ansari, Ramsha Ahmed, Ihlam Iftikhar, Sadia Mahmoud, and Alia Gouda. We truly couldn't bring to life all of these incredible wins without your marketing skills, design, and creativity. Thank you for dealing with all of our last-minute requests and making everything look 1,000 times better with your magic touch.
Before we officially begin, we would like to request everyone to make dua for one of our sponsors, Nadia Malik's late father, Salahuddin Malik. Salahuddin Malik was a devoted husband, a father, and a devotee Muslim. He was also one of the founders of the Muslim community of Quebec and his first treasurer. He is remembered as a visionary behind building a united Muslim community in the 1970s that eventually led to the first Muslim elementary school and high school in Quebec. The Salahuddin and Rehana Malik Science and Engineering Scholarship was named to honor both of Nadia's parents, and we request everyone tonight to please remember them in your prayers. May Allah grant him a place in Jannatul Firdaus. Ameen. Now, we're going to be starting this evening with a beautiful Quran recitation. It is my pleasure to introduce Nuruddin Bakri. Nuruddin is a Palestinian Canadian currently living in Winnipeg, Manitoba. He is attending the University of Manitoba Faculty of Science and is completing a Bachelor's of Science in Cellular Biology. Nuruddin will be reciting ayahs 102 to 108 from Surah Ali Imran. Nuruddin, the stage is yours.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا وكنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فأنقذكم منها كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تهتدون ولتكن منكم أمة يدعون إلى الخير ويأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر وأولئك هم المفلحون ولا تكونوا كالذين تفرقوا واختلفوا من بعد ما جاءهم البينات وأولئك لهم عذاب عظيم يوم تبيض وجوه وتسود وجوه فأما الذين اسودت وجوههم أكفرتم بعد إيمانكم فذوقوا العذاب بما كنتم تكفرون وأما الذين ابيضت وجوههم ففي رحمة الله هم فيها خالدون تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق وما الله يريد ظلما للعالمين صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you so much, Nuruddin, for that beautiful recitation. Now, to kick things off formally for today's event, I will briefly outline our agenda. First, we will start by sharing details of Max's second Quran recitation competition. Next, we will provide an overview of Max scholarships and Max at large. Then we will introduce our first speaker of the night, Nabeela Ixtabalan, Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of Walmart Canada. This will be followed by our second keynote speaker, Hamud Mbarak, aka Pen Moods, lawyer by profession and poet by choice. Hamud will be followed by our final two guest speakers, Ashley Pearson Khan, a writer and content creator, and Imran Khan, an entrepreneur and a global market research executive. We will then pause to recognize all of our high school winners for 2022. After we've had a chance to share a round of applause for these well-deserving students, we will pass the spotlight and recognize our university scholarship winners. Along the way, we will hear from select students and get a chance to learn about their inspiring journey. Our event will also host panel discussion of former scholarship winners who will share with us their journeys, how winning a Max scholarship supported their education, and what inspired them to be who they are today. As an end to the reception, we will provide an avenue for scholarship winners and sponsors to virtually connect and meet one another via Zoom breakout rooms. So let's get the evening started.
Mac's second Quran recitation competition took place in the last 10 days of Ramadan earlier this year, where we welcomed 140 entries from across Canada. It included 3 categories: elementary, high school, and university students. The competition encouraged participants to recite Surah Al-Alaq, while a group of judges assessed the tajweed, accuracy, melody, and enthusiasm of the participants. 18 finalists were narrowed down and proceeded to the voting round of the competition. The votings were casted by the committee to vote for their favorite recitations. We awarded 3 winners in each category, which included 9 prizes worth $8,000 that were dedicated towards a winner's school or Quran's tuition. Under the elementary middle school category, we had Fatma Sheikh winning the first place, Sayyid Rafael Hassan winning the second place, and Ahmed Muhayya winning the Judges' Choice Award. Under the high school category, we had Shamina Arif winning the first place, Hamida Muhammad Farooq winning the second place, and Raeed Sheikh winning the Judges' Choice Award. And in the last category of university students, we had Hadil Muhammad winning the first prize, Maryam Adeb winning the second prize, and Muhazzama Muhtaj winning the Judges' Choice Award. We are very pleased to congratulate all the winners of the Quran recitation competition this year.
Now to share some incredible Max Scholarship Fund statistics and a bit about what the success has looked like so far and what specifically went down this year. So for those of you who don't know, Max Scholarships has one mission, and that is to award well-rounded students who are eager to make an impact in their communities, learn, and create. Those who are awarded a Max Scholarship are students who have contributed to their communities, achieved above average success in their academics, and are recognized by their peers. These students are just overall incredible young students who will go on to do great things. Max has been awarding scholarships to youth since 2016, and with the help and support of all of our sponsors, we have contributed over $1 million worth of scholarships to more than 250 students' tuition. Last year, we were lucky to award scholarships to 56 students, and this year we awarded 74 students with scholarships ranging from $500 to $20,000. A look into the gender breakdown of our scholars this year, we saw a 63%, 37% split, with females taking the majority representation. Although all students, regardless of gender, are inspirational and impressive, we all know the struggles and underrepresentation of women, even more so Muslim women. So we're extremely proud to see that Max is helping break through the glass ceiling on this front.
Diversity and inclusion is extremely important for us here at Max, and it is great to see this come to life when we take a look at all the different ethnic groups of our students. We have representation from all around the world and across many cities in Canada. I won't read this all out, but please take a few seconds to glance over this slide and feel free to give your city a shout out in the chat box.
Next, we have a snapshot view of all of the different scholarship categories we had this year. From left to right, we have university categories with All-Star, Business, Journalism and Media, Community, Computer Science, Humanitarian, Mechanical Engineering, Medicine and Dentistry, Newcomers and Refugees to Canada, Persons with Disabilities, Science and Engineering, and Women's Empowerment. For our high school students, we had All-Star categories, Journalism and Media, Community, Newcomers and Refugees to Canada, and Science and Engineering. It's so amazing to see all the unique applications we receive from these categories, and it's truly all-encompassing. From business to science to arts and even life circumstances, our scholarships cover a wide range of students.
And last, but certainly not least, as we provide an overview of MSF, we cannot forget about all the incredible sponsors who have donated not just their money, but also their time, energy, and effort. Please glance through this list of sponsors for this year. We have some that are returning 6 years in a row, others who are brand new, and others who have continued to spread the word and have their friends and family come forward and support Max scholarships. It is truly remarkable to see so many of the names here. We thank each and every one of you for your generosity and continued support, and for making all of this come true. So thank you. Now that you have had a chance to hear us talk about Max scholarships, let me introduce Azhar Zafar. Azhar Zafar is an FCPA, FCA, and is currently Director of Investment Risk of OP Trust, one of Canada's largest pension funds. In his spare time, he is founder and head cheerleader of one of Canada's fastest growing minority-based not-for-profit organizations, the Muslim Award for Excellence, otherwise MAX, which has over 750 active volunteers across Canada. In addition, he was recruited by the chair of the Princess Margaret's Cancer Foundation Investment Committee to help manage its $500 million endowment and serve as a member of the investment committee. Azhar, thanks for all that you do. Joining Azhar will be our marketing leads, Sana Ansari and Ramsha Ahmed. So Azhar, Sana, and Ramsha, please take this virtual mic and share a few words.
All right, assalamu alaikum, everyone. Really nice to meet all of you. Syed, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So first of all, congratulations to all the 74 scholarship winners this year. It was 6 years ago when we started Max, and we had 7 scholarships for 30,000. So, never did, at least I didn't think it would happen this fast. In 6 years, we'd get to 74 for 306,000, but it kind of shows that you're part of a larger Muslim and even some non-Muslim who are supporting us, who really believe in, Canadian Muslim youth being supported and achieving high levels of excellence. So just know that, in the background, alhamdulillah, there's a huge community that really is striving hard. We're obviously minorities. Many of us were born here, some are not, but alhamdulillah, you should be rest assured that people are working very hard and are very happy to support all of your pursuits in excellence, whether they're high scientific achievements on finding new inventions, or you're trying to get into media and journalism, be a leader in journalism, or perhaps you're doing some you're going to law school, or you're doing your PhD, and like Azwad trying to figure out flying cars. So please keep that in mind, and really nice to see not only the sponsors. So thank you to all the sponsors. We'll get to that as we did, but also the level of achievements of the students is very nice to see, and our judges are all stating that. And we coordinate with over 100 judges to mark all your applications, interviews, etc. So, by the way, for those that are wondering why I'm wearing this, it's my Waterloo shirt. So I'm trying to represent my school when I went to university. So for the few Waterloo students that are here, hence no collared shirt, and I didn't dress up. I just wanted to represent Waterloo. So to our story, as you can see, founded in 2015, had our first gala at the Ritz. We then expanded to Montreal. We're now in Vancouver, Ottawa, Montreal, Toronto, Houston as well, with the Max Mentors program. Max is more than just the scholarships and gala. We have a large mentorship program. Atiya is here. She manages that across national. She, all the leads, Vancouver, Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal, report into her. We have Women Leadership Program that Hannah started. We have Max Business, which has 3 elements to it. One is training for boards, so trying to get Muslims into board of directors roles. So whether it's like we have a training program coming up. So for example, we have Nader Patel, who's on the Canadian Tire Board. We have Dr. Lashmi, who's not only head of Ryerson, TMU is the new name, but is also on the board of Rogers. So alhamdulillah, it's really nice to see, we want to help Muslims sort of in their progression, not only scholarships, not only business. We're also in the Max, they have an investment referral network helping startups. So Muslim entrepreneurs who may, if you think about, you've had success stories in other communities like Mark Zuckerberg, Sergey Brin, Google, the Instagram folks, you've had a lot even on the hardware side. Inshallah, that's something we are also trying to set, and we have this platform called MERD. We have Max Aspire, which is coffee chats. We launched Texas, so it's a bunch of folks out of Google, McKinsey, and Deloitte. So just, alhamdulillah, it's a really nice story, and you're part of this network now. One of the things I would say to all the students here is there's a lot of volunteers, and you're going to see them speak tonight that are behind this. And there's a lot of work. Like, we're all professionals in our right, but we self-sacrifice outside of work for you and others in our community. And just realize it's not a right, but it's a privilege what we've done. And hopefully we continue to do this. And it's really nice when we hear stories and seeing all the support. But when you get a chance to volunteer with Max, we hope you enjoy it. This year, we may actually not need all of them, all 74. We'll probably use a significant number, but alhamdulillah, we've got a lot of bandwidth on our side now, and people want to help out and want to be part of the network and benefit from it, whether it's helping them in their career, etc. So if you all don't get called, you realize there's a reason, but if you don't get called, most of you have applied and you're like, hey, I really want to help, please feel free to reach out and we'll try to get you involved. So if we can move to the next slide. Okay, so you've heard about the scholarship sponsors. Before we even get to that, we have all these corporate sponsors who help us, who've built Max as well. And these are them: Royal Bank, Islamic Relief, and Farhan Abbas Popeyes are largest sponsors. And then our first ever sponsor in gold was KPMG, Dr. Lashmi from Metropolitan University, Mohammed Al-Zaybek, who started Terranet. If you guys ever look up Terranet, it's a very large real estate, let's call it database type company that Mohammed Al-Zaybek founded and sold it. Cadillac Fairview. So if you think about Eaton Center, Square One, Sherway, some of those malls, Cadillac Fairview, and a couple of other pension plans, we sort of, we run these things, we build the buildings, and then that's sort of what helps pay people's pensions. Dr. Ike Ahmed and Dr. Ruby Alvi. So Dr. Ike Ahmed, as many of you know, is a world-renowned ophthalmologist. So he's been a supporter since day one. Our silver sponsors, SRJ Accountants, so that's Cheyenne and Junaid, who are building up a large practice and get a lot of clientele. Richard Rooney, even though he's outside our community, it's amazing and unreal how he supports us. And he knows more about Islam than I do at times, knows about our history, supports us through scholarships and on this side as well. We have the law firms of Davies, Torreys, and Fasken supporting us. So they're amongst the largest Canadian law firms. Bally Asney Asset Management, Kareem Ansar is here representing them. So BAM sponsored 3 scholarships plus Max sponsorship. They're a very large multi-billion-dollar hedge fund across the world. Greensill Canada is a large insurance company. Sargent Farms, many of you have probably eaten their chicken. So they're based out in Milton. And then we have a plethora of bronze sponsors, Syed Law, so that he helped us out in terms of when we need to get and apply for charity status. TCF, Citizens Foundation, many of you probably know about them. They build schools of the largest network of not-for-profit schools. They're based in Pakistan. Scotia Wealth Management, Charm Fertility, Mishkat Digital, and Polar Diamonds to round it out. So that's about our sponsors. And before I sort of move it on to Sana and Ramsha to speak, I just want to leave you, all the scholarship winners, with one thing. You're all going to, inshallah, all of you, for the most part, will probably do very well in life. Just remember where you are today. If there's one thing I would leave you with is, I've seen a lot of people go from where they are today, get success, get money, etc., and sort of bifurcation. Some make it and remember where they came from and always try to give back and pay it forward. And others kind of forget and go down a different path. I would love it if each of you think about, once you make it, what is the impact you want to have? Whether it's through groundbreaking research, whether it's through something in the media, whether it's through, starting something like a Max or some other organization, just think about having impact and what you want to leave for others and to benefit others. It might be a little early, but it's always good to think about that because inshallah, you'll all achieve success. You're all very bright. I've seen most of your applications. So, wish you all the best. And Sana and Ramsha, who are now going to speak, two of our amazing volunteers who've done such an amazing job. This slide deck and a lot of the social media you see, thinking through how we're going to brand ourselves and move forward as we went from Muslim Awards to Excellence to Muslims Achieving Excellence as we matured in an organization. But a lot of the credit is due to Nahida, Syed, Sana, Ramsha, Atia on mentors, Myrna, Yasmin, etc. So you'll get to see a few of them tonight. With that, I'll pass it on to Sana.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Sana from Max Marketing. When I joined in 2017, we were a small but mighty team of 60 volunteers focusing on just awards and scholarships. Today, over 750 volunteers led by our core exec team that you see in the slide run programs for youth, early career and mid-career professionals and senior executives in multiple areas. So education, business, mentorship, women's empowerment, relationship building, and awarding excellence. Like Azar said, our volunteers are mostly busy professionals at some of Canada's top companies, and we'd like to thank them for generously dedicating so much of their discretionary time to give back to the community. Next slide, please. So there's a lot of new faces here today, and I wanted to share a little bit about our evolution over the years. Since 2016, as the network grew, we realized there were so many professionals who wanted to mentor students and young professionals. And lots of young professionals were looking to be mentored, but there was no connection. So that in mind, the Max Mentors program was born, and within 4 years, this program expanded to Montreal, Edmonton, Vancouver, Ottawa, and most recently, Texas. And today, we're proud to say there's over 300 pairs of mentors and mentees across North America. In 2020, in order to celebrate, inspire, and cultivate this leadership excellence among high-performing decision makers, we created the business program, focusing on leadership, advisory, and board training. You'll see us running some posts about this board training program. We'll be starting up soon. We're super excited about it. And a women in leadership program as well to host events and workshops uniquely geared towards current conversations and trends. Next slide, please. Okay, over the years, we noticed a gap for private investments in growing companies. We wanted to expose investors and senior entrepreneurs to a whole new diverse set of investment opportunities. So with this in mind, Max Tank, and most recently in 2021, the Max Investment and Referral Network was launched. And in less than 2 short years, up-and-coming startups have raised over $1.2 million to accelerate their growth. This year alone, we've run over 7 professional development and virtual events, and are truly grateful to our speakers who generously shared so much of their time, their insights, and expertise into their own careers and in industry trends. As you know, we take professional development and building connections quite seriously, and we're always trying to find new ways to do this better. Yes, please come and speak to any of us. But it's in the spirit that 2021 saw the creation of the Max Aspire program, which is a virtual career building platform built by a team of our in-house volunteer developers, some of our MSF scholarship recipients as well. And we're thrilled to say that this platform now has a network of over 700 senior leaders who can network with each other, and have also committed to having virtual coffee chats with up-and-coming professionals. So if you follow us on social media, you'll see our posts. And today we're celebrating our scholarship winners, who will be awarded a total of $306,000. The diversity of fields studied and researched by our scholars is a testament to the motivation and passion for education, the ambition to move forward, seek knowledge, and create a lasting positive impact. So a huge thank you to our scholarship sponsors and all of our volunteers who spend so much time on the logistics. None of this would have been possible without you. And now over to my better marketing half, Ramsha, to share the next chapter in our Max journey.
Thank you, Sana, and assalamu alaikum, everyone. So as Azra and Sana mentioned, we are very blessed to see the amazing growth and expansion of Max in terms of programming, but also location. So we've grown across Canada and now have ventured into the US. So we really took a look at where we were going, and Sana and I, along with the help of our Max executive team, did some strategic planning. So we really wanted to set ourselves up for future success. So our goal and our purpose is really to focus on inspiring leadership and empowering change in our communities. And that change comes from our contributions and impacts as Muslims in a variety of ways. And our mission allows us to achieve this through academic and professional development opportunities, many of them that Sana has highlighted, and I'll show you in the next few slides. So our pillars are defined in three distinct categories. So scholarships is the one that you most are familiar with. It's and our topic for today. It's really to award well-rounded high school and university students with the financial support so they learn, accelerate in their fields of studies, and make impact in Canada and beyond. Our second pillar is called professional excellence, and that's where the majority of our programming is. And that's to enable systematic opportunities for long-term professional success, influence, and impact of Muslims in various industries and communities. And our third pillar is called recognition. And that's where we honor, reward, and celebrate high achievement of Muslims by sharing successes and creating inspiration and motivation. So you'll see how all of these pillars come together in the next few slides. So as mentioned, these are our programs. Our scholarships pillar houses our Max Scholarship Fund, and it also supports the Quran recitation competition. So this was our second year doing the competition, and we were able to give out $16,000 worth of prizes over the last 2 years. It was a very memorable part of kind of our work that we did, as we were able to encourage young students to connect with the Quran, and it's usually held during Ramadan. And this year, fortunately, we were able to get some of our winners to recite at our Max Islamic Relief Iftar. Our other programs, as I mentioned, were in the professional excellence category, which includes our Women in Leadership program, mentorship, Aspire, which Sana mentioned, is our in-house digital platform that we've built that connects seasoned professionals with younger professionals. Business, board training, which is our new program. You'll see a lot about it in our social media platforms, as well as MaxCast, which is our podcast series. And then our recognition pillar houses the gala and our awards program. And we're really excited to see you, hopefully in person in 2023, where we have our next gala. So our last slide is, I think, the most special slide that I like to talk about the most, because it really shows anybody's journey with Max. And one of our objectives with Max is not only just to provide great professional programming, but it's also to develop a very dynamic community where folks can rely on each other, create those partnerships, and have that sense of belonging, which is really, really important to us. So many years of hard work and support from our many volunteers and our sponsors have allowed us to be able to be in this place, alhamdulillah. So I'll focus on kind of the first part of the journey, because that's where most of our scholarship recipients are, and that's students and early career professionals. So it's a very special time in your life, and we have many opportunities through our mentorship program, Aspire, and our scholarship program for you to continue learning and developing yourself as professionals. As Muslims, we don't just spend our time, we really invest it. So as you're going through your journey and as you're developing as a professional, we have opportunities for you to give back to the community, whether that be a mentor, a scholarship judge, a volunteer in any of our extensive programming. Many of our scholarship sponsors that you saw today, the names come up and that you'll get a chance to speak to later during the event, were often in your shoes. And one of the main reasons that where we are today in terms of Max and our Max Scholarship Fund is those same people chose to invest in themselves and the broader community. And we hope that you'll be able to do the same. And one day you'll be able to give back. And that way, and we've created Max in a way where there is that giving and taking of information and creating those relationships as you go through your professional journey. So by maximizing yourself as a Muslim and as a person, we really hope that you can make that impact that will allow you to achieve success both in this life and in the hereafter. So I'll pass it back to my colleague Sana, who will introduce our first speaker, and looking forward to chatting with you all soon.
Okay, Nabeela Ixtabalan is Walmart Canada's Chief Operations Officer. She oversees the operations and performance of Walmart Canada's 400 stores, serving more than 1.5 million customers daily. Nabeela is one of the Globe and Mail Report on Business's 2022 top executives and has nearly 20 years of leadership and business development experience with Walmart, IKEA, and Starbucks Coffee. Nabeela has a dual degree in marketing and supply chain management and distribution, and a master's in industrial and organizational behavior and design. She is also a certified executive coach. Thank you so much for joining us today. Over to you, Nabeela.
Assalamu alaikum, Max Scholarship winners and family members and community members. It's an honor and a privilege to be with you all today. And I want to take my time with you all to talk about success. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, I have been blessed in many ways, big and small, personally and professionally. And if you took a look at my LinkedIn profile, most people would say that I've been wildly successful. And I hope in this crowd, you would also say, mashallah. At just 20 years old, I was running a $1.2 million business. At 26, I was running a $130 million business. And at 29, I was responsible for a multi-billion-dollar business. I'm the only female COO at Walmart today, and only the third ever to hold the position. I've sat on the board of a Silicon Valley startup that I was able to expand globally. And I've had the opportunity to travel the world and live in 4 different countries. I sit on boards, I speak at conferences, I get to meet a lot of important people, but most importantly, I have a beautiful family who love me and who support me through it all. At the same time, I come from a family of small means, and I had to work full-time, 50 hours a week to pay my way through university, writing a $12,000 check out of my own pocket every semester. I've struggled my entire career with work-life balance. I've struggled with postpartum depression, and I've fought a battle with anxiety for many years, one which I work on actively every single day. And surprising to many, I'm actually very introverted, more introverted than I am extroverted, and I need a lot of time to rest and recover after social interaction, which is basically what I do every day. I've battled mom guilt, imposter syndrome, bias in the workplace, racism, You name it, I've been there. And these are the things that you don't see on a LinkedIn profile. These are the shadows of a lot of professional success and achievement. So as you embark on your journey as young adults and as students, I want you to challenge the question. I want you to challenge and question your definition of success. Now, I get it. I'm the child of immigrant parents who gave up everything and escaped war to give me opportunity that they didn't have. And like most first generation children and immigrant children, there's this external and internal pressure not to squander that cherished opportunity. But over the last decade, as I've reflected deeply on success and what it is and what it isn't, and during that journey, what I've learned and realized is that the answer has been right in front of me the entire time. The answer was given to me 5 times a day, and I've been hearing it my entire life. Hayya al-salah, hayya al-salah, hayya al-falah, hayya al-falah. Hasten and hurry to al-salah, and hasten and hurry to success. Sorry, I get a little emotional talking about it. Now, I'm not here to tell you that you don't need these scholarships and drop out of school and just go pray 1,000 times a day. Like, that's not what Islam teaches us. But what I am going to tell you is that there's no true success without the foundation of spiritual success. It's in how we carry ourselves as Muslims of excellence and how we pursue our education and our profession within the realms of Islam, protecting and prioritizing our ibadah. So as you embark on your journey, widen your definition of success. Think of it as multidimensional, both in this life and the next. Define your success in more domains than just professional and educational achievement. Yes, we all want to feel successful in whatever we pursue, but we need to pursue spiritual success by prioritizing our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and our state of spiritual health. We need to pursue mental and emotional success, caring for your emotional and mental health. We need to pursue relational and social success, as Azar was talking about, and caring for the important relationships in our lives, our families, and our communities. We need to pursue environmental success, caring for the environment and the world which has been given to us as an amana. We need to pursue physical success so that we have the strength and the forewithal to go through life's tests and have the health in other aspects of our lives. So my challenge to you as you all sit down and pursue your futures and everything that's ahead of you is reflect deeply on what you want to achieve professionally, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, socially, environmentally, and physically. What do you want your success to look like across all of these domains? And when you sit down to define these things, it makes every other decision you're going to make easier. When you sit down and define these things, it makes it easier to keep balance across all the domains of your life. My reflections of success led me to defining what I call my baseline. It's a list of things that I will not compromise on no matter what. So I wanted to share my personal baseline with all of you. It may seem overly simple, but these are the things that I know I have to protect. So first and foremost, it's my spiritual health, which means making my prayers on time, doing my sunnahs, and participating in some congregational religious activity on a weekly basis that fills my spiritual bucket. It means eating all my meals on time and not skipping them to do work or chores, maintaining my sleep schedule and having restful, uninterrupted sleep, having breakfast or dinner with my kids every single day, working out 3 times a week, going outside and enjoying nature and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creations at least once a week, making time for the things I enjoy that are not work related, like reading or spending time with family or friends, and limiting my exposure to negative news and social media. I've learned how important it is to pay attention to what I pay attention to. And last but not least, protecting true time to rest and reflect and do the things that recharge me. Now, I use this list very literally. I have it printed in multiple places, and I reflect on it at the end of every week. And I ask myself if I was able to maintain it. And if I struggled in one of the areas, I paused and I changed something about the next week so I could course correct. When I'm given an opportunity professionally or personally, I actually sit down and ask myself, can I maintain my baseline and do this opportunity? And I have literally turned down promotions or said no to board seats or said no to lots of requests on my time as a result of the fact that I knew I couldn't do those additional things and protect my baseline. So having this wider definition of success has given me the confidence in knowing that knowing what is important and protecting the things that are most important in my life. You would never be late to a meeting with your boss or a prime minister or a person of significance. Think about how you're showing up for these important people versus how you're showing up for yourself and for your family, and most importantly, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that society has conditioned us to prioritize professional and educational and financial success at the expense of other dimensions of our lives. My hope for all of you is you question this, that you think deeply about it and you broaden your definition of success. Having a great job and a great salary doesn't feel like success when you're also struggling with your mental and emotional health. Having a PhD doesn't feel like success when you haven't seen your family in months or struggle to maintain family ties. Now, this broader definition of success may mean that you take things more slowly or that you're more measured. And in my opinion, that's a trade-off worth making. So all successes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and all errors are my own. I share this advice with myself first and foremost, as I share it with all of you. And I wish you all endless success, to all our scholarship winners and their families and all of your endeavors, both in this life and the next. I think now we're just going to open up for a few questions, inshallah.
Thanks so much, Nabeela. That was incredible. There's a lot that we can learn. And in fact, if you could share your list again with us, that would be great, as a few of us didn't catch everything. I did not write it down and would really appreciate that. If you could share it in the chat before you leave, something like that, we would take that into consideration and maybe find a way to promote that list. I think it's really, the things that you listed were really, really important. We do have a question here about what led you to be part of a company making $1 million at the age of 20?
So it's actually quite simple. I started at Starbucks Coffee making $6.50 an hour as a 16-year-old as a barista. And by the time I was 20, I was running the business. I was running a store. So a Starbucks operates around $1.5 million. So I was, 18 years old and some change, running a Starbucks coffee business by myself all day, 45, 50 hours a week, and going to school at night. And then that one store turned into 20 stores and turned into 600 stores. And by the time I was in my mid-20s, I was running $130 million P&L. And it's just grown since then.
That's great. And with all the things that you listed, sort of, what do you do when you feel so overwhelmed that you're not even able to follow your own list of how to take care of yourself?
Yeah, so that's the daily struggle, right? And I think that's what the baseline is intended to do, is to hold yourself accountable. And what I would also suggest is to share the baseline with people in your life that can also hold you accountable. So family members and friends. So there's a system in place to hold yourself accountable. So if you start to veer off that list, you can course correct. And it happens at times. There's crazy weeks or a crazy series of weeks, but that is the center of gravity. It always pulls you back and allows you to reset. So I think part of it is just being forgiving to yourself that, it is a constant journey. And I think in this journey of trying to find balance, we do have peaks and valleys, but there's always a way to come back and reset. and just never losing that. Like you never give up in trying to find that balance. And we know that the best way is the middle way. So it's just a way to keep you in the middle and keep you balanced in every aspect of your life. Or at least that's how I've used it and what it's done for me.
No, that's wonderful. I don't know if you're able to read the chat while you speak, but there's a suggestion that you should write a book about your journey through life. Your journey has been, it's amazing, and it's quite inspirational of you to be able to speak so frankly and honestly about your experiences. Aside from you doing all these incredible things in the professional sense, what is one thing that you like to do personally? Like, you know, some of us like to travel, some of us like to bike or hike. What's one thing that you like to do for yourself?
So I have a lot of personal, things that I love to do. Traveling and reading are two. Hiking, being outside. I love the mountains. Being in nature is really important to me, and it does wonders for our mental health and physical well-being. So those are things that are really important to me. And I will say my superpower is also sleep. I think as young people, you might underestimate the importance of sleep, but the science is there. We know this importance of it. I think really protecting my sleep is really critical for me as well. So a lot of times my favorite thing to do on the weekend is sleep. So
Thanks so much for dealing with thanks so much for sharing that. I did miss a few questions in the chat. The first one is, how do you deal with imposter syndrome and working as a Muslim woman in a multi-billion-dollar company?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have imposter syndrome anymore. I would say that I'm very confident in my skills and capabilities today. Alhamdulillah, that's something that's grown over time. But when I was younger, it was definitely something I was plagued with, and predominantly because I was quite young. I was usually the youngest person in the room. I was usually the only female in the room, and I was definitely the only Muslim female hijabi in the room. And I think when I was younger, I just overcompensated with trying to know more, do more, be faster, take on more. And that's a dangerous method of trying to compensate for imposter syndrome. That's part of kind of what led to overworking myself. What I would say, so I don't recommend doing that. What I would say today when I think about that question is ask yourself, what's the opposite of imposter syndrome? So imposter syndrome is the voice in your head that says you're not qualified, you're not capable, you shouldn't be there. There's another voice in your head that says you are capable, you are confident, and you should be there. Name that voice, foster that voice, encourage that voice. And when you have a choice to either believe the voice of imposter syndrome or that other voice that does tell you that you have the right to be there and you're just as capable as everyone else, choose that voice. It's just it's a choice. It's the same thing like when I get asked, how do you share things that can be vulnerable, because it's hard to be vulnerable because it feels like you're exposing yourself. I choose to believe in people's compassion over their judgment. There's going to be people who judge me, but I just choose to ignore them. And I choose to believe in people's compassion over their judgment. I choose to believe in the voice that tells me I belong here than the voice that tells me I don't. It's a choice.
That's great. I think we are running out of time, but I did want to ask one of the questions in the chat about how do we remind ourselves of the bigger definition of success. Sometimes we focus a lot on how much money we make, and that's dictates how successful we are, but that's really not the definition of success that we should be focusing on. So how do you, and what do you sort of do to remind yourself of this is the broader definition, this is the bigger picture?
You are more than your job. You are more than the income you earn. And so I think literally write it down. And that was my challenge to you all. Sit down and write down what you want your success to be across all dimensions of success. Read it every year. Remind yourself of it. Post it somewhere. Give it to someone who can remind you of it when you get a question or challenge that you have to face. Measure yourself against it. Create an accountability system around it. But I really want to encourage you guys to sit down and reflect on your journey across all these dimensions in life and not solely pursue professional and educational achievement. because our lives are not just what we do and how much money we earn. And I think we all know that. That's why you guys are here. So I just challenge you to kind of double click on it and reflect on it and write it down and read it to yourself and share it with others. And that way, inshallah, you keep yourselves, you hold yourselves accountable to that broader definition.
That's great. Thank you so much. There's a few other questions that we didn't get the opportunity to get to, but on behalf of everyone, thank you so much for these inspirational words, the honesty that you brought to your remarks, and just being able to be transparent and open with us about your journey as you went from, you know, your academics and after your academics, and here you are, such a leader, a Canadian Muslim woman leader that a lot of us look up to. Thank you very much. Before you head out, if you could write your list in the chat, that would be fantastic.
I will do. I have it. It's a LinkedIn article, so I'll post a link to the
Perfect.
article.
That is great.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Our next speaker, we are thrilled to introduce our next speaker of the evening, and it is Hamud Mbarak, aka Pen Moots. Just to give you a brief introduction of who Hamud is. Hamud is a lawyer by profession and a poet by choice. When he's not negotiating contracts, he's setting his pen on fire wherever the mood strikes. An advocate of truth, defender of justice, and storyteller for his communities, Pen Moots has performed for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, presidents of the Raptors, Masai Ujiri, and the mayor of Toronto, John Troy. In addition, he has launched a campaign supported by the Los Angeles Lakers, been featured in Complex, Sport Sheet, and many more. His captivating energy has gained him audiences as a public speaker with American Express, the City of Toronto, York Region, District School Board, and Canada's Elite Development League, to name a few. However, his passion lies in speaking with students and inspiring the next generation to pick up the pen and express themselves. And now we'll introduce to you the people's poet.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. It's beautiful to enter spaces where people pronounce your name correctly. So thank you and hats off to you. And since you brought a poet to the stage, it's only right that we kick it off in the only way that I know how. So with that being said, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Hamud, but I'm really Pen Moods. And I'll continue to pen moods for as long as my pen moves, until my pen proves that I'm really pen proof. Now listen and observe as I carve every word and etch my feelings and emotions into every groove. Some sharp, jagged, hollow, some smooth. Painting pictures of allegories of different categories that I elude. Your journey with Max is only beginning, and our words of truth and positivity to be continued. So as mentioned, my name is Hamud, aka Pen Moods. I am a lawyer by profession, poet by choice, poet by passion. And but before I even get into myself, I first need to give flowers to our hijabi hero, our dear sister Nabeela, for such a wonderful conversation. To be honest, I could close my laptop now and you would have taken all you needed for today. So mashallah, thank you for doing what you did, our dear sister, for inspiring us, for inspiring me, and reminding us the importance of rest as we pursue our professional endeavors, as well as personal, and most importantly, our spiritual. So in terms of what my goal is today is to, one, tell you my story, two, give you a brief background with my experiences and interactions with Max. And inshallah, at the end, if time allows, I would love to share a piece with you, my fellow scholars and dreamers. So in terms of story, I am a lawyer. I'm a legal counsel at Soft Choice, which is a software hardware reseller in the technology space. And while, as mentioned, when I'm not reviewing contracts on the daily, I'm very privileged and fortunate to tell stories through the pen, to be the voice of my community, which often is the many people sitting on the other side of this camera. And how this all began really is quite a unique story. And I want to emphasize story because as you, my young scholars, continue on in your professional careers, as you grow and you graduate, the number one thing and the only thing that you do have is your story and how you tell it. We come from backgrounds where we're taught about humility and, we got to remain humble, but the only way that we will actually achieve and accelerate and be able to, go to the places that we want is if we know how to articulate who we are, where we come from, why we're here today, and where we want to go. So I know you're probably all wondering, what is this guy's background? I can't really tell. So let me dispel all these rumors and questions now. Well, I was born from the Horn, where my roots reside in Africa. I also, my heart beats to the feet of my Bedouin brothers and sisters in Yemen. So I'm both Kenyan and Yemeni. And through that ancestral background, storytelling is something that's incredibly rich from where I come from. And you would think, Hamud, how have you been able to achieve all these phenomenal things? It literally all began with putting my pen down, putting pen to paper, and starting to articulate my thoughts to the world. And primarily, this all started within the past 2 years for me, 2 or 3 years. During the social justice, what I like to call reawakenings, where we saw many things rise to the surface. And the impetus of Hamud turning into Pen Moods all began with Ahmaud Arbery's story breaking on social media. So just to quickly remind everybody, Ahmaud Arbery was the young Black brother who went running one day and was gunned down. And why is this such an important part of my story? And that's primarily because I was also a high-level runner. I was a high-level athlete. So when I saw Ahmaud Arbery, I saw myself. And I saw it as a responsibility to now speak to his untimely demise. And after LeBron James caught wind of his story, I saw it as a responsibility to now dive in and understand exactly who this individual was. To date stamp everything, his story broke social media on May 6th, 2020, even though he passed away much earlier in the year. So after going deep and understanding who this individual was, I went to bed that night livid and woke up the next morning in an angry state. And I channeled these emotions in the only way that I knew how, where I wrote a piece called I Can't Breathe. And that was 3 weeks before Ahmaud Arbery was killed. That was 3 weeks before George Floyd was killed, excuse me. So when the world saw George Floyd utter those final words, everything went viral. My piece goes viral in both Canada and the United States. And it was during that moment where I thought that I needed to do more within this conversation around social justice, which is where I developed a campaign called Maybe If It Was Me. And the principle of Maybe If It Was Me to bring proximity into the conversation so that other individuals could see who I was as a Black Muslim, as a Black individual. And during this time period, alongside my lovely sister, we created this campaign where we articulated the meaning of no justice and no peace. Where we really wanted to tell the world, what those words really meant. And during this endeavor, we created the Maybe If It Was Me campaign, and my sister designed these beautiful t-shirts of no justice, no peace, which then caught the attention of the Los Angeles Lakers. So while during those many moments, I was in my room crying tears, wondering, what it was like to be a Black individual in this world, I had a second problem. What size shirt do you send LeBron James? And after many deliberations, it might have been a double XL, triple XL, I have no idea, okay? And, but during that moment, a lot of beautiful things happened within my community and within my own personal growth. We saw educational institutions start teaching my Maybe If It Was Me piece within their curriculums to grade 7 and 8 students. You saw many people purchase my shirts in support of the Black Legal Action Center, who provide free legal services to Black Ontarians across the province. And then we just saw the message of no justice, no peace being championed to the world, where we eventually saw J.R. Smith rock my t-shirt heading into the Game 3 of the NBA Finals in 2020, where the very next day, the NBA also posted it onto their social media pages as part of a paid ad with Louis Vuitton. But the coolest part of that moment was nobody was talking about the Louis V bag and everybody was talking about our shirts. So alhamdulillah, we achieved our objective of showcasing what justice and peace really means. So now to bring everything full circle, after that day, Complex reached out to me. They thought I was some fashion brand. I was like, listen, respectfully, that's not who I am. So after telling them my story, they thought it was incredibly inspirational and ended up doing a full profile of me in Complex. So I was on the front cover of Complex for 3 days before being replaced by Justin Bieber. So I like to think I'm in good company, you know what I'm saying? But since then, everything kind of steamrolled and took a different trajectory, where I was fortunate enough to do pieces for Sportsnet, West Hall's Black North Initiative, and eventually Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And most recently, producing shows with Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony with Slam and League Fits. And we have another show that's coming out, inshallah, next month with Slam and with Slam as well. So the importance and the reason why I share these things with you is not to flex by any means, but to showcase that me as a Black Muslim individual, as a Muslim who's also a lawyer, going to Nabeela's point that, you know, we have passions and things that we take interest in outside of our jobs that we should enter into as much as we can and tap into. And primarily because I want to bring proximity to you, right? Like, we as Muslims, and through Max, what we're showcasing through this organization that, mashallah, Azhar had the foresight to bring forth into our communities. And I know he doesn't like the flowers, but I'm gonna give him anyways. But also I want to give flowers to our community, for everybody who participates in this community. Because the reason why we build these things is because now it's our responsibility to transfer our knowledge, to share in this knowledge transfer. The way that I look at and how I describe it is there are two themes that occurred. Like Nabeela, my parents immigrated to Canada. And the theme of our parents, of immigrant parents, is simply described in one word as survival. They had to survive leaving a place of, they had to survive leaving the known to the unknown. They had to survive new environmental conditions. They had to survive existing in spaces with racial and prejudicial undertones. They had to survive entering into rooms with people who do not look like them, only to provide us with opportunities to succeed. And mashallah, as you can see with how much scholarships Max is distributing to within our communities, you can see that we and you, my cohort who are listening today, are incredibly inspirational, you know? And inshallah, we'll have more opportunities to see each other in person, because you need to feel this energy that I'm sharing with you. You need to understand that there is no reason why you cannot go and achieve these phenomenal things yourself. You cannot go and become a COO like Nabeela, right? So proximity is the name of the game. And through this mentorship program, what I like to say is there's three things that I think through Max, we try to impart on you, right? And they are to love wholly. That means to love every piece of yourself. That is to speak freely, to be confident in yourself, to share how you feel when you may be challenged in both personal and professional spaces. As a lawyer for a publicly listed company that shares in conversation with both internal and external customers, I do recognize times where I am being challenged, and I must stand behind who I am as an individual. And third is to walk confidently. We see today that our identity as Muslims is being challenged in different areas. Some people are challenging our traditional dress, whether to stay on or to remove. And I want to impart on you, you must be extremely proud of who you are in every space and room that you enter yourself into. It's not to bring everything as a collective. Alhamdulillah, I found out through Max by a close friend of mine, Anika Ahmed, whom Azhar also knows, and she was the one who actually brought me into this Max mentorship program. And I was so fortunate to meet an incredibly, so many incredible individuals that ultimately led me to my position that I'm sitting within now. And this idea of proximity and understanding and seeing another, I directly report to the General Counsel, Senior Vice President at Soft Choice, Habib Sayed. So what that means to me as a professional, as a lawyer, as a Muslim lawyer, to see somebody achieve those accolades inspires me every day to become a better individual, to showcase that there is no ceiling for anybody, any one of us in this room, right? So alhamdulillah, I'm incredibly thankful to share this space with you. I know my young scholars are going to do incredibly exciting things in this world. And to close this, I would love to share this piece with you. And before I share it, it touches upon these themes of survival, right? So the theme of our parents, of the immigrants who entered into new spaces, was survival. They were surviving. Every day they had one goal, and that was to survive. But what I want to say to everybody listening here today is that theme is no longer the case for everybody who's listening. The theme of today is now to strive, to thrive. You must thrive in every opportunity, in every space, whether personal or professional. We need lawyers, doctors, accountants, engineers, coders, actors, creatives. We must see each other in every single avenue. And we must be able to tell our own stories. So this piece that I'm about to share is called Thrive We Must. And in this piece, I echo on those themes. I speak towards the challenges that we Muslims may face in our both personal and professional careers and avenues and lives. And what I want to do in this piece, and I previously spoke with Azhar, is I understand the importance of voice. I understand the importance of community. And it's incredibly important to tell our own stories. And inshallah, for the sponsors who are taking part in this today, who have done such incredible things in our community to support Max, to give these kids the opportunity to go and, achieve the phenomenal things that they will, inshallah, well, my humble ask is for those that resonate with the piece that I'm about to share, inshallah, I would love for we can have a side conversation to inshallah fund this piece and then take this out to TIFF. Because we as Muslims need to learn how to tell our own stories and tell them proudly. And I understand the power in my voice and the power that I want to give to those listening. Just like Rami has, just like Mo Amra has, and just like Pen Moods will, inshallah. So without further ado, let me get into this piece for y'all. I wish I was in front of you and I could hear and I could see your faces, because I'm a really big energy guy. Like, I need to feel the energy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the energy to y'all, all right? So one moment. Bismillah. Longing for belonging, a place of rest, a place of comfort to rest my head. But slowly do I understand that the peace I'm searching for, the tribe I'm craving, has always been within me. So I open my chest to emanate the love that I love, the trust that I trust, the friend of my friend, the strength of my strength, the compassion that softens and soothes the exterior of me, of the man that I am, that the world continues to demand from. But who are you to respond when you can't hear your own call for help, the drumming against your rib cage, the beating against your throat, the lump growing like a stone that can't be swallowed? So choked it sits, nestled, blocking the passage of your voice, the roar you once had, reduced to nothing but a squeal. Oh, how the mouse laughs as you've now become equals. Fret not though, because the line never left. There's no taming of this beast, but merely a suppression of the tension to trot back to your natural, in the natural, while giving it all to the supernatural, the prime mover, the primed you for kingship in his kingdom. Some call it Middle Earth, but we see it as the dunya that traps us with allure of diamonds. That traps us with allure of diamonds that glisten. But listen, not all that glitters is gold, just like the old adage. So give flowers to those of ages older, for their wisdom lies in the experience the springs of youth can't bounce to. But bounce we will, with the knowledge shared to lead further, with the knowledge shared to lead further, with the knowledge shared to lead further, higher, to heights unfathomable, to the generations whose theme was survival. Yes, they survived, so thrive we must. Yes, they survived, so thrive we must. Yes, they survived, so thrive we must. So thrive we will, so thrive Max will, so thrive Nabeela will, so thrive Azhar will, so thrive my scholars will, so thrive we will. Thank you, shukran.
Wow, Hamud, that was incredible. What a story and what a piece. Thank you for sharing that. We have left some time for our audience to ask you questions about your journey. So I see we have already have a question. Azad writes, have you tried showing your piece inside a court in front of a judge yet?
One day soon. Listen, first of all, I hope it's, if I'm in the court, it's me advocating for somebody and not on the other side. But two, inshallah, maybe one day, maybe the day has come. Azra, you'll have to be with me. Who knows? Maybe we can make it happen. And I'll only do it if you're reading and reciting with me. Just know that.
That's incredible. And Maria writes, why did you get into contract law and how did you deal with the long hours of being lawyer?
You know, it's a great question. The short answer is I was following my sister's dream. She was the one who has a dream of becoming a lawyer. Alhamdulillah, I was like, that looks like a great dream. Let me piggyback on that too. So I followed her to law school in London, England, and just through meeting a bunch of individuals, I guess I always had a passion for commerce, and that ultimately led me to working and seeing experiences in both the investment banking space first, which ultimately then led me to working in a corporate environment, first an international law firm in London, England. And yes, they did beast your boy. The first week I was working, it was there till 3 a.m. But when you're young, you're very much excited to participate in those spaces. And while every day may not look like suits, it is incredibly exciting to be part of a profession that, you know, demands so much from you as an intellectual. You're in front of and around so many people who are incredibly smart individuals that allows you to raise your game. And alhamdulillah, that's kind of the reason why I landed where I landed. And I'm thankful for it. Those nights where you're working super late, maybe less thankful. But you're always thankful for the opportunity and for learning and growing in every way and every day.
Truly. And I guess like you told your story so well. Is there a story behind the name Pen Moods? Where did that come from?
Honestly, Pen Moods, you know, it's crazy. Like so many people ask me that. And to be honest, I can't remember how it came up, but it was just a play on my name, you know, Hamud. And I believe that like it was articulated in the beginning, like I pen moods, you know, like whether I'm happy, sad, you know, in a state where my mental is being challenged, I feel I tell those stories and I use my pen to speak for my communities. You know, when the Afzal family, we saw their untimely demise, I use my pen to advocate for them and our counterparts, you know, to advocate for our community and to show, you know, strength in numbers. And especially like I keep talking about, you know, Nabeela, because I see her as a hijabi hero, you know. I'm so humbled to even share a space and stage with her because she is the visible representation of Islam. Like for me, to me as a man walking the streets, nobody will know if I'm Muslim or not. So to everybody who's listening on this call, specifically the young ladies, my young hijabi heroes, I applaud you, I champion you, and I want you to understand that I see you, and anything that we can do to uplift you, we will and we must, because there's going to be times where people will challenge you, they will say things to you, but remain strong, resolute within your faith, because that's the only thing that matters in this world. With God on your side, ain't nobody bringing you down, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I gotta say.
MashaAllah. And I know we're running a little bit behind, but before I let you go, if someone wants to learn more about you or your art, where can they go?
Okay, the easiest way. I'm not on TikTok yet for my young kids. Maybe y'all can help me set that up. Get me booming over there, but primarily I'm on Instagram, pen.moods. Please connect with me there. Inshallah, I'd love to converse and, you know, share more what I can do. And LinkedIn, Hamud Mbarak. And if you see me in the streets, don't be a stranger. I do not like when people say, Hamud, I saw you. No. Come and say salams to your boy. I do not bite. I'm gonna welcome you with open arms, maybe give you a hand up if you're comfortable, but I'm here. My message is, I'm open to you. Azhar, thank you for giving me this space. Max, thank you for championing me and championing our scholars. And on that note, I'm gonna pass it off because I know we got so many more people to celebrate today. So shukran, alhamdulillah, I love everyone.
Thank you, Hamud. This was incredible. I'm sure a lot of us have been moved from your piece. Next, we are very pleased to announce our last guest speakers for the night, Imran Khan and Ashley Pearson Khan. Imran Khan is an entrepreneur and a global market research executive. Imran was the co-founder of Edison Research, which became one of the most reputable market research agencies in the APAC region. In 2021, Imran's company was acquired by Schlesinger Group, and he joined them as the Senior Vice President of Client Solution. He presently serves as advisor on the University of Toronto's Governing Council Secretariat. And along with Imran, we have Ashley Pearson Khan. Ashley is a writer and a content creator who uses the Muslim narrative to connect with her fellow Muslims around the globe. She is known for her revered story to Islam and her volunteer work with the World's Hijab Day organization, a global organization dedicated to supporting women's right to wear hijab and educating non-Muslims about Islam through creative means such as inviting them to wear the hijab for a day. She currently serves on the board of the World Hijab Day organization. Both Imran and Ashley are the new sponsors for 2022. They participated as judges throughout the marking process and helped support the interview process as well. Thank you so much, Imran and Ashley, for joining us today. And I will now pass it on to you to share a few words.
Jazakallah, thank you so much. So first, I want to begin by apologizing that Ashley is not by my side. She always is. She isn't feeling too well. So I told her to please go rest because her rest is a lot more important to me. So I will speak on her behalf and my behalf both. And I'm somewhat improvising. We initially had a plan on how we're going to approach it, but I think with any professional out there, there's one thing you have to remember is that improvisation is really important when plans change, and that's the situation that we're in right now. So I want to begin by giving you guys some idea in terms of who I am, where I come from, and Ashley's background, and talk about how the scholarship fund that we started came about. So I was a part of an immigrant generation that really came to Canada with limited opportunities. Growing up and going to school, I didn't have the opportunity to witness many successful Muslim professionals that look like me. Being brown, Muslim, young, Muslims were often underdogs, and we didn't have the security net or support that other minority groups have. So when I came across Max in around 2015, I saw it as a channel that really brought some of Canada's most successful Muslim professionals and recognized them for their contributions in their professions or even broader to the country as a whole. I also saw Max as a stepping stone for something great for society. One thing I really dreamt about early on was hopefully I could start my own scholarship fund under MSF, but to be honest, to start a scholarship fund, you need the capital, right? So that was one of my dreams, and alhamdulillah, I'm so grateful and honored that I'm able to do that this year with Ashley. To give an idea about Ashley, she actually grew up in the United States. So she grew up in a small town, Harrison, Arkansas. To give you an idea, Harrison is the hometown for the KKK. So it is in the Bible Belt, very right-wing America. She met a hijab-wearing girl in her university and a student she was later partnered with as a mentor in a mentorship program. Ashley was very inquisitive about the girl's hijab and spoke to her as her mentee in order to learn more about Muslim women and why they wear hijab. Through her conversations, she eventually joined the World Hijab Day organization and took part in the World Hijab Day event, which takes place every year, February 1st. So Ashley would wear hijab February 1st every year since, I think, 2014 to support other Muslim women and also be an advocate for other hijab-wearing sisters. This eventually led her to take part in the Ramadan Challenge in 2019, where she wore the hijab for the entire month of Ramadan, and also said that if I'm going to wear hijab in Ramadan, I'm also going to fast to support my community. So she fasted the entire 30 days, just the way other Muslims were fasting. On the last night of Ramadan, she decided that, she also learned quite a bit because she went to the mosque and she read about Islam and why people are Muslim. And eventually at the last night of Ramadan, she took her Shahada and accepted Islam. Since accepting Islam in 2019, she's kept her hijab and it's an important part of her identity. So when Ashley and I were going through our courtship process in 2020, I told her the advocacy work that she was doing around women's rights was very inspiring to me. I told her that, inshallah, I hope one day I can honor the work that she's done with Muslim women to really start a scholarship fund for her contribution to the community. And it was her selfless nature and the work that she did to advocate for women's rights, even before she even knew what Islam was all about. And this eventually led for us to start the scholarship fund. The Pearson County Work for Women's Empowerment is a scholarship fund that brings both of our lived experiences to light. I grew up, in a low-income family where my parents worked extra hard to provide for us. My siblings and I started working at a very early age, start supporting our parents, and so we can afford a house and live in Canada. This was my challenge as a young, Muslim man who grew up with financial challenges. The people that played a role in my success, who championed me, gave me opportunities, were primarily females in my life. My lived experience made me believe that women make great leaders, and that's one of the reasons why we decided to start this scholarship, for the inspiration that both Ashley and I had with the women around us. So, on behalf of Ashley and I, although she's not here, sitting with me, we are so honored to be here this evening to celebrate the achievement of, a lot of young Muslims. You are paving for something great, and we're so proud of all the applicants and the award recipients this year. Thank you for allowing, for us to hear your stories, and some of them are very vulnerable. And it's, not everyone feels comfortable sharing their stories. So the fact that there were people that were sitting in interviews and that could speak about their experiences, it was definitely, for our category, it was moving, it was empowering, and we're so honored that, you gave us the opportunity to hear your story. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Imran and Ashley. We're so upset that you weren't here to provide us with your comments. I am going to take a moment to thank all of our speakers so far. The passion and dedication that you've shown in your remarks and the comments that you've provided is really evident. There's a lot for us to take back and reflect on as we ourselves move through our own journeys. Thank you for your kindness and willingness to speak with us today. Our next item for the agenda is that we're going to take a moment to recognize all of our high school students that won a scholarship this year. Unfortunately, this is not an in-person event, as we would have loved to see you walk across the stage, but for now, we're going to share a slideshow of all of our high school winners, and in advance, congratulations to all of you. We have Zunaira Ganjat, winner of the Mahdi and Rashida Ansar Scholarship for Science and Engineering, who is attending the University of Western Ontario. Maisha Kanizi, the winner of the Yahya and Fatima Ansar Scholarship, attending the University of Toronto. Zahra Tawsif, the winner of the Hassan, Ali, and Roshan Banu Sachdina Scholarship, attending McMaster University. Rodaina Abu Layla, winner of the Muhannad Foundation Scholarship for Outstanding Achievement, attending the University of Waterloo. Azba Wasim, also winner of another Muhannad Foundation Scholarship for Outstanding Achievement, attending York University. Nashi Hussain, winner of the Dr. Ike Ahmed University Entrance Scholarship, attending also York University, Shoreditch School of Business. Maria Sakar, winner of the Habib Khan Memorial Scholarship, attending the University of Toronto. Muhammad Ibrahim Sharif, winner of the Walid and Dina Sulaiman All-Star Scholarship, attending the University of Alberta. Subha Azreen, winner of the Yumna Afzal Memorial Max All-Star Scholarship, attending the University of Waterloo. Abdullah Al-Azawi, winner of the Aspiring Social Impact Leader Scholarship, attending McMaster University. Saifullah Khan, winner of the General All-Star Scholarship, attending Toronto Metropolitan University. Maryam Taskarji, winner of the Muhammad Khalilullah and Wahida Bijam Scholarship, attending McMaster University. Ibrahim Kittani, winner of the Walid and Dina Sulaiman All-Star for Learning Disabilities, attending Queen's University. Armin Atif, winner of the Asaima and Pervez Akhtar All-Star Scholarship, attending McMaster University. Maryam Abdallah, winner of the Tahara Bakht Scholarship, attending the University of Waterloo. Sauda Ghazi, winner of the Khurshid A. Shadawri All-Star Scholarship, attending the University of British Columbia. Maryam Naimi, winner of the Fumili and Mansouri Family Award for Afghan Canadian Youth, attending the University of Toronto. Hamza Abdi, winner of the Hudhud Scholarship for Somali Canadian Youth, attending the University of Saskatchewan. Ritika Barsha Bank, winner of the Walid and Dina Suleiman All-Star Scholarship, a Bridge TO Scholar attending York University. Veronica Liu, a Bridge TO Scholar, winner of the Saya and Sakiha Family Scholarship, attending the University of Toronto. Muhayman Siddiq, another Bridge TO Scholar, winner of the Bridge TO Community Scholarship, attending the University of Toronto. Mahnur Naveed, another Bridge TO Scholar, also a winner of the Bridge TO Community Scholarship, attending Brock University. And finally, Leila Khalawati, winner of the Muslim in Media Award, attending McGill University.
Incredible to see so many of our high school winners. Now for our next segment, we'll be having a select few students to take the stage and share a few inspiring words with us all. First up, we're pleased to have Nashia Hussain, winner of Dr. Ike Ahmed University Entrance Scholarship, to share her journey. Nashia is a young entrepreneur that is passionate about advocating for diversity and inclusion. One of her greatest accomplishments include being the president of her high school's first Muslim Student Association. She founded this club during the beginning of the pandemic to provide a space for her peers to connect with one another and build a supportive community. In addition, she led her school's first Muslim inter-scholastic tournament team in which they qualified to compete nationally. Nashia also had the opportunity to be a virtual camp counselor at the Islamic Information and Dawah Center, where she taught students Islamic studies and how to read and interpret the Arabic language. Nashia is attending the Schulich School of Business to continue making positive changes within her community. Welcome, Nashia.
Okay, so Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Nashia, and I'm honored to be this year's recipient for the Dr. Ike Ahmed University Entrance Scholarship. So I want to begin by thanking the Max team for all their hard work and persistence over the past year. There are many struggles and challenges that must be overcome when organizing a fund of this scale, but because of their dedication and commitment, we are all gathered here today to celebrate the achievement of Muslim students. I speak on behalf of all recipients when I say, I hope we can surpass your hopes for us and do great things in the future, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for all your efforts in supporting those on the path of gaining knowledge. So when I first learned that I would be a recipient of a Max scholarship, I was just ecstatic. It felt like a surreal moment. This scholarship means that the hard work that I put into my academics and the time I spent for my community is being recognized in a way that motivates me to keep going. It will help me to be amongst the next generation of Muslim leaders committed to uplifting others in the community. For me, Max not only serves as an organization that supports Muslim leaders in thriving within their respective fields, but is a righteous community in which everyone wants the best for you. Every Max member that I have come across has offered me genuine advice, guidance, and encouragement, which I'm extremely grateful for. I also strongly resonated with the message that the organization was built upon, which was to raise the status of Muslims and provide leaders with the recognition they deserve in various industries. Personally, I hope to join the business industry and was really inspired to see all the brilliant business leaders we have in our very own community. One of the goals I hope to achieve in my professional career is increasing representation of minorities in the business field. I want to be in a position where I would be able to implement an inclusive policy, where individuals from diverse groups don't feel hesitant in showcasing their amazing skills. For example, a university internship program can be implemented to hire individuals from racialized and minority communities. I am also an aspiring entrepreneur. So I'm constantly looking back at the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to identify leadership skills he held and how he approached various situations. I hope to create a sustainable business that utilizes ethical and environmentally friendly ways of producing its products. I would also employ individuals based on their character, conduct, and tenacity. Often individuals of racialized backgrounds are not even considered for positions that they have like the best qualifications for. So this is a practice that needs to be acknowledged and changed permanently. My goals are really tied into the community work I've done during my high school career, and it started with my local mosque. So one of my proudest moments was becoming the first virtual camp counselor at the Islamic Information and Dawah Center. So during the pandemic, it was the first time the camp had classes online, which posed various challenges that I overcame through diligence and creativity. I really enjoyed being a teacher and a mentor for the youth in my community, where I was able to connect them with Islam and teach them how to navigate through life as a practicing Muslim. There were also many moments of challenge, and I think my respect for teachers also grew at that point, but it was a really rewarding experience. But because of my participation in the community, I had the confidence to start a Muslim Student Association at my high school, so a sense of community was created there as well with the Muslim student body. I hope to continue mentorship and community building throughout my time as a university student. Finally, I want to give a big thank you to all the sponsorship donors for their generosity and support. It's really empowering to know that there's someone that has absolute belief in you and your capabilities to excel in the future. Special thank you to Dr. Ike Ahmed for sponsoring the scholarship and enabling me to be an empowering leader within the community. Jazakallah khair for your time, and I hope everyone continues to enjoy their evening.
Thank you so much, Nashia. Next up, we would like to introduce our BridgeTO scholarship winners for the year. BridgeTO is a non-for-profit organization that is driven to help youth in underserved communities achieve success beyond high school. The winners in this category include Ritika, Veronica, Mohaiman, and Mahnur. I'm going to invite Mohaiman to join us and share a few words. Mohaiman is a first-year student in the University of Toronto looking to major in physics. Passionate about astronomy and the environment, he dedicated much of his 4 years in high school towards advocating for the Earth and learning about what's beyond. Despite many personal challenges in his life, he continued to be steadfast in his academic career and maintained a competitive average. By his final years, he had founded his school's ever first astronomy club, all while heading the school's environmental club, among many other initiatives. Moreover, he volunteered with the Toronto History Museum until the end of his high school career. For his contributions to his school and his community, he was presented with the Top Male Graduate Award by his school. Welcome, Mohaiman.
First of all, wow, how do I even follow that up? Thanks so much for that amazing introduction. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone in the audience. And as you've all heard, I am Mohaiman Siddiq, and I am the BridgeTO scholarship winner or one of the BridgeTO scholarship winners of this year. And first of all, what an honor to be among some of the most talented minds I've ever seen in my life. Every single guest speaker we've seen, and Nashia, who just spoke before me, are absolutely incredible people. And goodness gracious, I can't believe I get to be here. But I was asked to talk about the impact of the scholarship on my life and my academic career. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know where to get started. I could just list things on and on and on. But to start with, I'm sure everybody in this room knows this much better than I do, but first year just isn't it. It's incredibly tough to transition from high school into university and also have a great time. Most people don't, but you know, I'm handling it. But on top of that, to worry about your finances and having to worry about where you're going to get your next meal or how you're going to pay your rent is just an extra amount of pressure that most people simply don't need. Which is why I'm incredibly grateful that the scholarship allows me to free up time that I would have otherwise spent applying to other scholarships or working part-time jobs that I can then free up and study for my post, which is a program of study in UFT, or dedicate my time towards my community, which I will do when I start volunteering with BridgeTO. But more than me, to me, the scholarship means a lot more than, you know, a little bit of money that's dedicated towards helping me towards my academic career. To me, this money is an investment in not only me as an individual, but rather our community. And it's really funny because Penn Moods literally said what I was going to say a minute ago and said it much better than I possibly could. But it is that our culture is in fact under attack. It is an uncomfortable reality, but the fact is our culture is considered outdated, and our identity is considered political in nature. And now more than ever, we as Muslims among ourselves, we need empathy, we need solidarity, and most importantly, we need unity. We need to come together as one community and hold ourselves together against the face of Islamophobia, racism, and anything else the world wants to throw at us. Heck, the clothes our people want to wear are somehow political. Like, explain this. It is absolutely ridiculous. But in the midst of this ridiculousness, we as a community have risen up and become, well, you know, amazing. And we continue to strive towards excellence. And this community is the Max community is just an amazing example of that. Now, but before I end off and before I give any closing remarks, I really want to give a quick shout out to Summer Hawks, Summer like season, who I recently found out was the sponsor of my scholarship. So thank you. And she's also the amazing and lovely founder of Bridge 2, who keeps you sweating and keeps you working, just like Summer the season. Now, along with that, I also want to really quickly thank Share Your Account, who I don't see in the audience, which is a shame because he was the mentor paired to me through Bridge 2, and I know they listed a bunch of things I did, but honestly, they would not have been possible without Share Your. But I also want to thank my judges for seeing the potential in me and seeing that I can in fact give back to the community in the way that frankly you have given to me. So, and lastly, I want to thank the audience of this conversation, because I'll be honest with you, I'm sure you have more interesting things to do than listening to a clueless 17-year-old speak. But with that, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much to every single person who are dedicating their time, their lives to Max and to, you know, the cause of Islam and our community. I seriously cannot thank you enough. And I seriously cannot thank you enough for choosing to believe in your own community and give it back to future generations. And with that, thank you. Once again, thank you and best of luck.
Thank you, Mohammed. That was great words. We are truly lucky to have so many inspiring students working for our community. Now, we'll be taking a moment to calling out all the university students who won a scholarship this year with Max. First up, we have Nadir Chaya, winner of Sajda Khatun Memorial All-Star Scholarship, attending University of Toronto. Next, we have Muhammad Uzair Khalid, winner of Shamoon Ehsan Memorial All-Star Scholarship, attending University of Toronto. Sana Javed, winner of Nusr Ahmed All-Star Scholarship, attending University of Calgary. Zayed Zahu, winner of Team Jabbar Reuters to Move You Forward All-Star Journal Scholarship, attending University of Alberta. Yasmin Dini, winner of Haidar Family All-Star Scholarship, attending McMaster University. Sadia Mahmood, winner of Mamoona Wasi Ahmed Memorial Scholarship, attending University of Western Ontario. Sarah Maqsood, winner of Baraka All-Star Scholarship, attending University of Toronto. Mustafa Saqib, winner of Masuma Halim and Shahid Sharafuddin Scholarship, attending McGill University. Samia Rahman, winner of Uddin and Hassan Scholarship for Women Empowerment, attending University of Alberta. Nijat Hassan, winner of Dr. Shiraz and Aisha Suleiman Scholarship for Women, attending University of British Columbia. Nadia Qureshi, winner of Rashida Abdullah Scholarship for Aspiring Women Teachers, attending University of Toronto. Miski Daher, winner of Hood Scholarship for Somali Canadian Youth, attending University of Toronto. Sarah Bulki, winner of Uddin and Hassan Scholarship for Leadership in Business, attending McMaster University. Salah Mehdi, winner of Balyasny Scholarship for Excellence in Business, attending York University. Fahad Iqbal, winner of Muhammad Hamayu Zafar Scholarship for Science and Engineering, attending University of Calgary. Sarah Ahmed, winner of Cars and Chai Toronto Scholarship, attending University of Toronto. Nabil Ahmed, winner of Salahuddin and Rehana Malik Science and Engineering Scholarship, attending McGill University. Alia Gouda, winner of Sajjad Ibrahim Family Scholarship, attending University of Toronto. Yusra Raham, winner of Madhya Salman Memorial Science and Engineering Scholarship, attending University of Waterloo. Intisar Zaloom, winner of Yusuf Family Scholarship for Science and Engineering, attending Toronto Metropolitan University. Azwad Abed, winner of the Yasni Scholarship for Excellence in Science and Engineering, attending University of Waterloo. Rana Ahmad Barkut, winner of Lau Family Scholarship for Science and Engineering, attending University of Toronto. Adam El Sharbini, winner of Syed and Fatma Warsi Scholarship for Science and Engineering, attending Queen's University. Imtisal Mia, winner of Blue Ridge OMS Women in STEM Scholarship, attending Harvard University. Muhammad Nashnoosh, winner of SSS OVES Scholarship, attending Dalhousie University. MD Rashiduzzaman Al Amin, winner of Max Sciences and Engineering Scholarship, attending Polytechnique Montreal University. Malia Lalwe, winner of MSF Mechanical Engineering Scholarship, attending McMaster University. Alima Malik, winner of West and Javeria Ashfaq Max Aspire Scholarship, attending University of Toronto. Muhammad Adem, winner of Balyasny Scholarship for Excellence in Computer Science, attending Memorial University of Newfoundland. Habibur Rahman, winner of Baraka Scholarship for Excellence in Computer Science, attending University of Alberta. Miral Chaudhry, winner of Sir Muhammad Zafrullah Khan Humanitarian Scholarship, attending University of Toronto. Ibrahim Muhammad, winner of Dr. Javad and Husna Khan Medical Scholarship, attending University of Ottawa. Lena El Faki, winner of Dr. Muhammad and Mai Munshi Medical and Humanitarian Scholarship, attending University of Toronto. Maham Rahman, winner of Dr. Bushra Qureshi Medicine Dentistry Scholarship, attending McMaster University. Betad Adyanka, winner of Dr. Bushra Qureshi Medicine Dentistry Scholarship, attending University of Western Ontario. Salman Al-Say, winner of Ashel and Amani Scholarship for Persons with Disabilities, attending University of Regina. Masiullah Zahid, winner of Ashel and Armani Scholarship for Persons with Disabilities, attending Centennial College. Hur Jannat, winner of Pearson Khan Award for Women's Empowerment, attending University of Toronto. Rehona Zamani, winner of Mohsen Ali Qureshi Memorial Scholarship for Women's Empowerment, attending University of Toronto. Yumna Omar, winner of Adam and Ilyas Lawn Scholarship, attending University of British Columbia. Sham Al-Muqtad, winner of MSF Refugees to Canada Scholarship, attending Toronto Metropolitan University. And lastly, we have Amjad Al-Ghamyan, winner of Maryam Memorial Scholarship for Newcomers attending University of Ottawa. Congratulations to all of you. You should be very proud of yourselves and your accomplishments.
Next up in our student segment are two of the winners in the science and engineering category that will give remarks, Sara Ahmed and Aswad Abid. Sara Ahmed is an MD PhD candidate at the University of Toronto. She's currently a PhD student at the Institute of Biomedical Engineering studying the applications of nanomedicine in cancer. Sara is also involved in research and outreach initiatives advocating for increased enrollment of underrepresented students in medicine. She works with the community to support to develop programs that build student competencies for pursuing research opportunities, graduate school, and professional programs. Aswad is a graduate student at the University of Waterloo researching the field of flying cars. He has also been working as a graduate teaching assistant in the Department of Systems Design Engineering for the past 3 terms. Aswad has 5 publications, one of which is in a Q1 journal. He's very well known for his technical skills, work ethic, out-of-the-box thinking, and public speaking skills. Currently, he's also the president of the University of Waterloo Toastmaster Club. Sara and Aswad, the floor is yours.
Just give me 1 second. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. As Nahida kindly introduced me, my name is Sara Ahmed, and I'm the recipient of the Cars and Chai Science and Engineering Scholarship. And to me, the scholarship represents our commitment as Muslims to bettering our communities through research. As Nahida mentioned, I'm currently an MD PhD trainee at the University of Toronto, and my goal through this role is to better our communities through medical research that progresses our knowledge of disease, its prevention, and treatment. As a physician, I hope to use my knowledge of human physiology to help optimize my patient's health. And as a scientist, I hope to use my scientific capacity from my PhD training to better understand my patient's diseases and develop treatments that are not available. I'm currently working on understanding how to better deliver chemotherapeutic drugs to tumors using nanotechnology. And using this technology, we should be able to improve the delivery of drugs to tumors and improve patient outcomes, since the delivery is currently limited to less than 1% of the injected dose. My hope is to push the boundaries of cancer treatment to improve the health of those we love and ourselves. And I think it's imperative that we as Muslims recognize that seeking knowledge and using our intellect is the core of our religious teachings, with our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, saying, "Seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave." We must also recognize the importance of using this knowledge to create better lives for ourselves and others, because also, as our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, the best of people are those who benefit people. As the recipients of the Science and Engineering Scholarships, we are honored to succeed Muslim scientists who preceded us, which inspired us to highlight those that inspire us in the video you will see shortly. And we are also grateful to our generous funders and MACs who are supporting our career endeavors and are helping make things easier during our schooling. And with this, I would like to introduce my colleague, Aswad Abid.
From high school to undergrad to master's, one question that keeps on intriguing me is, what is the definition of success? Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Aswad Abid. I'm the winner of the Bali Asni Scholarship of Excellence in Science and Engineering. Currently, I'm doing my master's at the University of Waterloo in Systems Design Engineering. But you might be asking, what am I researching on? Well, my research topic is about flying cars. Now, when we talk about flying cars, you might be like, hold on a second, Aswad, this is too far-fetched. But actually, it isn't. We already have working prototypes that can take people from point A to point B. So my research currently is trying to find out what would be the easiest way for you to start flying a flying car. What controller would you be using? Now, coming back to the initial question, what is the definition of success anyway? The best definition that I could get is from Earl Nightingale, who said that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. My worthy ideal? I want to be at the forefront of research in air transportation and be a professor who will guide the students towards impactful innovations. To me, that is success. Leaving the world in a better place than I found it. The next video we're presenting will show some of the renowned Muslim scientists from the past and the present. Hope they inspire you. Hope they aspire you towards your success. Enjoy.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hamud Mbarak and I'm an MD PhD student trying to develop medical devices for neurological illness. A scientist whose work really inspired me was Abu Qasim al-Zahrawi. During his life, al-Zahrawi pioneered several different surgical techniques and also introduced over 200 different surgical tools, all to improve patient outcomes. His work went on to become the main source of medical education for several centuries. Now for me, this is someone who really always put his patients first and embodied the Islamic value or principle of striving for an expanded understanding of the Almighty's creations. I hope to use his lessons in my life as examples of how to strive for ihsan as we build and develop new tools to improve patient outcomes.
Growing up in Morocco, I was fascinated by Fatima al-Fihriya, the Muslim woman who founded the oldest and first operating degree awarding university in the world in Fez. Al-Qarawiyyin University started as a mosque and quickly flourished to be a learning institution for religious studies, astronomy, languages, medicine, and algebra. It witnessed distinguished scientific figures like the philosopher Ibn al-Arabi, the historian Ibn Khaldun, and the mathematician Ibn Rushd. Hearing about Fatima since I was young and visiting Al-Qarawiyyin motivated me to pursue an academic research and teaching career in chemical engineering. Throughout this path, I seek to follow Fatima's legacy and inspire youth, especially women, to take up academic careers in STEM.
I was always personally fascinated with Ibn Zuhr, who was a Spanish physician but also a Muslim and one of the greatest clinicians of his time. And his major discoveries aside, I was always really fascinated with his emphasis on evidence-led medicine, and such a widespread topic has rather focused my research and aspirations as it has provided a narrative and framework in the work that I do. And that's really that applying in my work in machine learning in primary care and healthcare is, I believe, best practice with a focus on rationality and evidence-led.
I want to take some time today to talk about Hamud Mbarak, who was one of the greatest Muslim scientists in our modern times. He was the first Muslim Egyptian to earn a Nobel Prize in chemistry for his work in femtochemistry. His work revolutionized chemical applications by allowing for a deeper understanding on chemical reaction transition states. I truly admire how Hamud Mbarak was always proud of his Muslim identity, as he served on a U.S. presidential committee that aimed to connect American scientists with Muslim countries. Hamud Mbarak constantly expressed his opinion on the beauty of science in Islam, which really resonated with me, and his legacy still lives on today as many young students are attending his university in Egypt and are constantly inspired by his publications, speeches, and other legacies.
I'd like to talk about Muhammad ibn Zakaria al-Razi, who was a Persian physician and scientist. Muhammad ibn Zakaria al-Razi spent his career studying illness, how to treat it, and most importantly, promoting preventative medicine as well as individual treatment of patients. And this resonates with me because I'm an MD PhD candidate, and I'm going to dedicate my career to treating patients and trying to find solutions through research for the diseases. But also being trained in modern medicine, I know that the most important healthcare tool that we have in our hands as healthcare professionals is prevention. And so the legacy that al-Razi leaves for us today is the crux of modern medicine.
Did you know that for the first moon landing, a Muslim was the leading geologist? Farooq Albaz decided the landing sites for the Apollo missions and trained the astronauts in lunar observations and photography. He also played a key role in the Apollo 11 moon landing mission and the Apollo missions afterwards. Currently, Albaz is a research professor and the director of the Center for Remote Sensing at Boston University.
What a video. Make sure we will post this on our social media channels in the coming days. Our next category of students in medicine and dentistry brings to you 4 scholarship recipients who are at different stages of their medical journey. Ibrahim Muhammad, Lina El-Faqi, Maham Rahman, and Baidat Adiyanka. These students, like all others, have challenged themselves to pursue a field they're most passionate about. We'll first share with you a video that briefly describes how these scholarships will help them along their academic journey.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Ibrahim Muhammad. I have won the Dr. Jawad and Husna Khan Medical Scholarship.
Hello, my name is Lina Al-Faqi. I'm grateful to share that I've won the Dr. Muhammad and May Munshi Medical and Humanitarian Scholarship.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Baidat Adiyanka and I am the winner of the Dr. Bushra Qureshi Medicine and Dentistry Scholarship.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Maham Rahman. I won the Dr. Bushra Qureshi Medicine and Dentistry Scholarship.
This really means a lot to me. I know Dr. Jawad was talking about, when you're trying to pay off medical school tuition, your options are really just to take out loans or work during the summer or win scholarships. So now I can really just focus on my studies, focus on my research, and not have to worry about how I'm going to pay off all my debts.
The privilege to have your support as I continue to develop into a Black, Muslim, female clinician and advocate for gender and racial equity in healthcare and medical education, both within Canada and past geographical boundaries.
This scholarship will help me fund medical school and reduce my financial burden, which will help me focus on being the best physician that I can be.
This scholarship presents me an opportunity to continue my advocacy work, fighting for equity, diversity, inclusion, and decolonization in medical education, specifically for Muslim learners.
Jazakumullah khair to Dr. Jawad and Husna Khan for giving me this scholarship, and Jazakumullah khair Max for this opportunity.
Thank you to the scholarship sponsors and the Max team for your support and belief in me.
I want to thank Dr. Faisal Qureshi and the Qureshi family for their generous donation and support.
I'm grateful for Max for supporting my anti-Islamophobia work, and I'm also grateful for the scholarship sponsors for uplifting Muslim learners and providing them a platform for success. Thank you.
Thank you, our medicine and dentistry scholarship winners, for those remarks. To introduce our next speaker, Ibrahim Muhammad, the winner of the Dr. Jawad and Husna Khan Medical Scholarship, the largest scholarship that the Max Scholarships program currently offers. Ibrahim is a fourth-year medical student at the University of Waterloo. He has a strong passion for mental health and hopes to be a psychiatrist. Having personally witnessed the gaps that exist within mental health care, he aims to work within the field to address them and improve the Muslims community's access to mental health services. To combat stigma against mental illness, he has helped create a module on stigma and psychiatry for the World Psychiatric Association and is helping organize panels at local mosques to discuss the nuances of medicine, psychiatry, and their intersection with Islam. Currently, he serves as a mental health programs consultant for the Muslim Media Association of Canada and is working on a research project on Islamophobia within psychiatry. Ibrahim, the stage is yours.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. As Nahida mentioned, my name is Ibrahim Muhammad. I'm a fourth-year medical student at the University of Ottawa. I'm the recipient of the Dr. Jawad and Husna Khan Medical Scholarship, graciously provided by their son, Dr. Vajid Khan. So thank you to the organizers of the event for inviting me to just share a short word with you all. And of course, I'd like to begin by thanking Dr. Vajid and his family. May Allah accept all of his efforts for giving me one less thing to worry about. I mean, realistically, as I was telling my friends, OSAP eats first, but alhamdulillah anyways. I was asked to give an inspirational and enriching talk. And now those are some big words. I will try to live up to them. And of course, mashallah, the talks given by Nabeela and Hamud were incredible. I don't think I'll be able to match those, but I'm trying to give you a fraction of that. I feel like being in this position, alhamdulillah, it's only natural for me to talk about how important it is to give back to the Muslim community. how important it is to never ever forget your roots, no matter where you end up. And, of course, it goes without mention that Dr. Wajid Khan is an incredible example of this. I wish he was able to be here with us tonight. Inshallah, I hope one day that I'm able to replicate what he has done. But this reminder applies first and foremost to myself. But I wanted to ask everyone here to always consider this important point. So whenever you are making any important decision in your life, or any decision really in your life, think about why you want to do what you're aiming to do, and then think how can this be used to actually benefit the Muslim community. So it's important to always stay involved within your own community and to make sure that once you are taken care of, which is ultimately from Allah, that you give back and that you take care of others. Look for where the gaps exist. Look for how your community can benefit from your experiences and your areas of expertise and from what you're good at, and then work within those areas. As mentioned earlier, inshallah, I plan on pursuing a residency in psychiatry so I can work within the Muslim community in the mental health field, as that is a gap that I have personally noted. And I think I can do important work in this. And of course, any kind of physician, there's always going to be important work to be done to better the overall health of the Muslim community. But no matter what your profession is, no matter what your expertise, no matter what your passions are, there will always be a need for Muslims who want to serve the Ummah and who want to improve the condition of our community. So what I ask of you is to find out what you're good at, find out where the gaps exist, and then aim to fill them. And inshallah, if everyone here, if we all try to do this, we will be able to create a more tight-knit community and a stronger Ummah, inshallah. So once again, Jazakumullah khair to Max, to the sponsors, and to the Dr. Khan family, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim, for that wonderful talk. And I love how you're thinking of giving back to community in the mental health space. It's definitely very important. Now we will have Vaidat Adiyanka, winner of the Dr. Bushra Qureshi Medicine and Dentistry Scholarship, give remarks. Vaidat is a medical student at Western University who is passionate about health equity. Her experience growing up in an underserved community has driven her passion for reducing systematic barriers. Vaidat has been involved in many health initiatives, such as working to combat the Black maternal health crisis, ensuring that reproductive health care is equitable for all Canadians, and working in clinical research with ALS patients. Vaidat enjoys serving her community. She was the director of mentorship at Bridge TO Youth and also helps to create programs to increase Muslim girls' participation in sports. Vaidat aspires to combine her research aptitude and clinical practice to help advocate for patients and to drive changes in her wider community. Welcome, Vaidat.
Thank you so much, Fahd, for that introduction. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Vaidat. First, I'd like to start off by thanking Mr. Qureshi and Dr. Qureshi for sponsoring the scholarship. I'm very thankful for your donation, and it's honestly going to go a long way in funding my education. So I've been asked to talk about my journey to medicine and what I've learned along the ways. Hopefully, hopefully it will be of some benefit to everybody. It's definitely been a bumpy roller coaster ride to get to med school. When I decided that I wanted to pursue medicine in high school, I knew it would be difficult, but as naive as I was, I have to say I didn't realize how much of an emotional roller coaster it would be. It took me 3 application cycles and writing the MCAT twice to finally get in. But each time that I applied, I overcame adversity and learned something new. So the first time that I applied, I didn't get any interviews. It was basically like my application got thrown away. So the second time that I applied, I did something different. And I was reaching out to successful applicants and mentors to help guide me throughout the process. And some of them are actually in this meeting right now. So thank you, you know who you are. And that did help me get interviews, but I couldn't get past that interview hurdle. That post-interview rejection hurt the most. I still visibly remember it that morning after not being able to sleep after eating suhoor in Ramadan. So the third time that I applied, I worked really hard on my interviewing skills. I prepped a lot with my mentors, and ultimately it resulted in getting 2 acceptances. And here I am today, alhamdulillah. But going through those hardships hardships taught me a lot, and I would like to share 3 of those lessons with you guys. The first lesson that I learned is the importance of mentorship. I truly couldn't have done it without my mentors and my support system who helped guide me along the way. The saying that it takes a village to raise a child, I think the same thing can be applied here. It definitely takes a community, a group of mentors that helped me get to medical school. Many of them I met through Max and Rich TO as well. Shout out to Summer. They were pivotal in getting me to where I am today. So if anyone is looking to embark on a journey, I would definitely highly recommend getting a mentor. The second thing that I learned is that it's important to explore other interests, and also having backup plans is extremely important. A lot of my mentors told me this, and I'm very grateful that they did. Yes, it's good to be passionate about something, but when you have all your eggs in one basket, failure after failure can be devastating, and that can really hurt your mental health. I knew that I wanted to pursue medicine, but I had other backup plans and other interests in place. So I used my gap years to explore my interest in research, which ultimately helped me prepare for my career in medicine, but it also helped me realize that I want to combine research with my clinical practice, inshallah. Aside from that benefit, it also having a backup plan helped me relax during my interview. I knew that it wasn't going to be an end-all be-all situation, and I had other things to look forward to, and that being research, and also I had basketball as well on the side. If you know me, you know I love basketball. The third takeaway, but certainly not the least, is the importance of faith and having tawakkul. We plan, but Allah is the best of planners. I know as Muslims, we hear a lot, but we hear that a lot, but it is definitely true. Some people have a perfect application and prep extremely well for interviews, but they still don't get in. There's only so much we can control, and realizing that really puts things into another perspective. Everything is to the qadr of Allah. So my journey has been bumpy, but all that blood, sweat, and tears that I put in has made getting to med school so much sweeter. I remember sitting here last year at the mass scholarship reception and hearing another medical student saying that it took them 4 years to get in, and I used that as my inspiration. I definitely needed to hear that because I was comparing myself to others who got in the first time. Imposter syndrome is definitely real. But I realized that for others it takes one try. For the others, it might take 4 or 5 times. But everyone's journey is different, and that's always something to keep in mind. We all have our own adversities to overcome. And I would like to end off on a quote that resonates with me, and I hope it does the same to you as well. We are all on different journeys, starting at different places. Focus on what you are doing. Don't waste your time on comparing your journey to someone else's. Sometimes you're ahead and sometimes you're behind. There is no race. Just keep going and never give up. And always have tawakkul. Thank you so much for listening.
Amazing, Baita. So motivational to hear how you perceived and didn't give up, and that's certainly a lesson for all of us. It's been truly an honor to hear from so many of our inspirational students tonight. Thank you so much for your efforts, your words of wisdom, and your overall inspiration to us all. To all the students who won scholarship this year, congratulations again. We hope you can all continue to inspire one another and remain connected. I know I speak for all of our community tonight when I say we are so proud of all of your achievements. Next, we have something very exciting. For the first time ever, we will have a panel consisting of past winners of Max scholarships to learn where they are today. I'll soon hand it over to Nahida, who will lead the panel discussion followed by a Q&A session. But just before I hand it over to Nahida, I would like to make a request. If I can ask the winner and sponsors to please change their Zoom name to make sure they have both their first and last name, and to include either the words winner or sponsor at the end, depending if you're a winner or a sponsor of a scholarship. This will help us in creating the breakout rooms. I'll now hand it over to Nahida.
Great. Thank you so much, Sayed, for those. And thank you to all the speakers thus far. Our next section is going to be a panel discussion. And this panel discussion will consist of scholarship recipients from 2016, 17, 19, and 2021. Beginning with Yara Al-Shirkawi, who is a Senior Associate Product Manager at Capital One. Following her graduation from Queen's University Smith School of Business, Yara started her career in Capital One Canada, where she took on multiple opportunities within the fraud space. Recently, Yara shifted her career direction into tech and started a new role as a product manager. Yara's current focus is on exploring the horizons both personally and professionally, whether it's exploring new career opportunities or backpacking solo through Europe. Dr. Ahmed Siddiqui is an ophthalmology resident physician at McMaster University. As a medical student in Vancouver, he was blessed to receive the Dr. Jawad and Husna Khan Medical Scholarship. The generous financial support, coupled with all the guidance he received through Mac's mentors, was pivotal in allowing him to successfully complete medical school and match into his residency of choice. The inspirational leaders he met during the events motivated him further in his career, dean, and community service. Mina Wasim, our third panelist, is an undergraduate student in the Commerce program at Queen's University. Mina is an advocate for accessible education and inclusive corporate practices. She worked on provincial level advocacy through the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce in New Brunswick, designed leadership pipeline programs for racialized women at Deloitte, and published research on COVID-19's impact on youth employment for the Canadian government. She's been featured in the Globe and Mail, Vice, CBC Global News, and more. And in addition to her being a Mac Scholar, she is also a Lawrence Scholar, Kitchener-Waterloo's Youngest Women of the Year, a board member of the Sexual Assault Center at Kingston, and a public speaker. And finally, we have Ibrahim Sadiq, who is a fourth-year medical student at the University of Alberta. Prior to medical school, he completed a Bachelor of Health Science degree from the University of Calgary. He's very passionate about social advocacy and minority representation and has dedicated much of his energy to these passions as the co-founder and president of the University of Alberta Black Medical Students Association and as vice president external of the University of Alberta Medical Students Association. Ibrahim has received the Alberta Council for Global Cooperation 2021 Top 30 Under 30 Award for his advocacy work. In his free time, he loves playing and watching soccer and basketball, learning Arabic, and spending time with his friends and family. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we will have a discussion with these four panelists. We'll start with our first question. Our first question is, what does being a Mac Scholar mean to you? And aside from financial support, what else did Macs do to help you succeed along your academic journey? And Yara, if we could start with you first.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all. It's great to see so many people here today. And it's an honor being on the panel and speaking to all of you. It's definitely a great opportunity. For me, when I won the Ike Ahmed Scholarship in 2016, it was a huge validation. I knew I could get the grades. I knew I was able to, do a lot. I was pushing myself, but being in that room and sitting at the table with Ahmed and Ruby Alvi and I was in awe. It was a lot for me just to be surrounded by so many amazing professionals, amazing Muslim professionals who were living lives that I, as a high school student, was aspiring to have. I didn't know much about what my life was going to look like. It was, the most difficult part for me to imagine, now that I have the grades, I'm going to university and maybe one day I'll graduate and get a job, what my life might look like. So for me, even though Max was obviously huge for relieving the financial burden, the opportunity to be in that room with so many people that I aspire to be like, and then volunteering with Max after I won, and again, being in the room with so many amazing professionals and just in awe that I get to sit next to them was for me the biggest thing. And it really propelled my academic journey in the sense that I knew I could get the grades, I knew I could push myself, but I knew what I was working towards. I knew that I had a vision of what my life could look like if I kept pushing myself. So that was the biggest impact that Max had on me.
Great, thanks so much. Ahmed.
Yeah, so I echo a lot about what was said earlier by Yara. But this year, I had the privilege of also being a Max Scholar judge, and so I was able to be on this side of the interview panel. What I was looking for was someone who is passionate about their career, motivated enough to advance it, but also look back and sort of bring up and uplift people who are also sort of wanting to learn more about their fields, and mentoring them as well and sharing their knowledge with them. And ultimately, I was looking for somebody that was, a great ambassador of Islam. If they're showing passion for their field, but also embodying that ihsan in their behavior as well, not only is that going to welcome others to, follow in their successful footsteps, but also to learn more about this beautiful religion and Islam that sort of motivates us all to achieve success on our efforts. So what did Max, how else did it help me other than financial support? Max was tremendously helpful in connecting me with mentors in my field. Ophthalmology is a small field, and so I was looking for Muslim mentors. And right from the interview, before I even got the scholarship, my interviewers were like, well, you're from BC, so why don't you go to Victoria? We have somebody there that can help you out. And I met Dr. Hamza Khan, and I met Dr. Aik Ahmed, I met Dr. Khidr Khan, so many different mentors that were just pivotal to connecting me with just my career, but as I mentioned earlier too, like just showing me, what their lives were like and how I could, embody excellence in my career and my personal life. Alhamdulillah.
Great, thanks so much. Mina, how about you?
Alhamdulillah, indeed. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. For me, aside from what Yara and Ahmed have already said, it's hard to top those answers because those are like the two biggest plus points to being a Max Scholar. But I think for me, once I was a part of the community, I realized that there is an opportunity to bring your authentic voice as a Muslim and your authentic experience as a Muslim to the table here. So just to give context, when I was in high school, I wouldn't have been able to go to university without the support of scholarships. So I spent the bulk of my grade 12 year sitting in front of panels, doing interviews. By the time I got to the Max one, I think it was like my second last one. And I was pretty burnt out from constantly being in that seat of having to be legible to donors and funders who, were lifetimes, they were living different lives than I had ever lived. And I knew what it looked like to look like a type A student in front of their seats to show them I have the potential. But I would leave those conversations feeling exhausted. And oftentimes, instead of always feeling inspired, I'd feel that, even though I did justice to like my story, I felt that I was capable of being legible to those judges, but someone else like me may not have been able to, because at the end of the day, I was feeding a vision of, a hardworking student they wanted to see. So when I joined Max, I also had the privilege to judge this year. And for me, it was the most eye-opening experience was really being able to, look for scholars and students who may not always be the most articulate, who may not always have, the perfect spot on answers for everything. But because I bring these different perspectives, because I understand what my reality as a Muslim has been like with intersections of things like race, class, and other, identities, to me, it was a really big deal to be able to influence, the future of this cohort going forward. So that, was the most cool and awesome part of being a scholar.
Wonderful. Ibrahim.
Yeah, those were fantastic answers. It was really nice to hear the perspectives of other previous winners. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I think, Max, for me, the journey for Max actually started as being part of the initial organization in Edmonton. One of my colleagues and basically lifelong best friends did an internship with Max, I think the summer before we both started in medical school. And he was telling me about this organization with this pillar of mentorship, trying to connect youth with professionals who were a couple of years into their program or into their fields to kind of help facilitate how to progress in these areas. And I thought it was super interesting. And that's how I initially got involved with Max. And I think through that involvement, I was able to see the benefit of being around other people who are doing the things that you want to do, how mentorship is a key. And I think that's reflected in a lot of the previous speeches that we've heard today. And I think being around like-minded Muslims who saw excellence as a center point and as something to aspire to was very motivating for me. And I know that we were encouraged not to focus too much on the financial benefits of the scholarship, but I think it's important to stress that with that support, it enabled me to focus on just being a student. a luxury that not a lot of people are able to have, whether it's juggling other responsibilities, having to work to kind of pay their way through school. I think that was a very big support, and I'm forever appreciative for it.
Wonderful. Next question is for you, Ahmed. You mentioned in your bio that you met a lot of inspirational leaders as a result of having received a Max scholarship. Can you share with us one such leader and how they motivated you in your journey and what impact they had on your career, dean, or community engagement?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, this was a hard question to answer, because when you go into these Max events, mashallah, you see, so many trailblazers in the community and different fields. Like just today, from all the speeches, you saw such incredible individuals giving their wisdom and sharing their wisdom with us. So, initially, I really can't just choose one. There are so many different folks that come to mind. Dr. Wajid Khan, initially, like I had met him even as a pre-med student. He was helping, med students at that time, or pre-med student, get into med school, and med students get into residencies. And so obviously I'm very grateful to him. And then of course through Max, I connected with Azhar, and obviously needs no introduction. And then Azhar, through the Max mentors, connected me with Dr. Khizr Qadri and Dr. Aik Ahmed, and both of them need no introductions. Dr. Ahmed is a world-renowned ophthalmologist, probably the most famous ophthalmologist in the world, has an incredibly busy schedule. But I remember during the Max award ceremony, him and his wife, like I remember his wife was listening to scheduling, and he's like, I'm going to make time for him. And then, he called me up, and despite his hectic schedule, combed through my application, gave me specific, detailed, guidance on where to go, and essentially just planned out my entire electives for the year as I was applying for residency, and been instrumental to my success. And Dr. Qadri, my mentor, he, talked to him about everything, the challenges of being a young Muslim male and as a professional, going through successes, the challenges. So they both have been incredibly inspiring to me. They're both, obviously trailblazers in their field, but at the same time, watching how they led their life, it inspired me to be steadfast in my deen, to be vocally proud Muslim, and to outwardly display the teachings of Islam in the way I serve maybe my patients through potentially saving their sight or maintaining their sight, maybe being a teacher like they are to future surgeons and students, and to continue to serve our Canadian and international and Islamic communities. And they were doing all this. And so just looking into their life and looking at the way how they connect with their families and community, that's something I try to inspire to. And I'm still grateful that even to this day I can continue to see them as a source of motivation and still look to them for guidance and wisdom.
Excellent, thank you. Mina, we're going to talk a little bit about your roles in advocacy. To you, why is it important to advocate for accessible education and inclusive corporate practices? And then what challenges do you encounter along the way, and what advice would you give for someone who wants to become an advocate and or an ally?
Okay, so loaded question. And definitely being an advocate is not a noun, it's really a verb, as cliche as those things sound. I think in the context that we live in, just by being, your authentic self as a Muslim, by showing up in your professional spaces, in your schools, even things like asking for prayer rooms when Ramadan is going to fall into the school year for the next 20 years, when you're advocating to, your dining services, to your residences, to your landlords for your needs to be met, you just by existing and showing up as you are and not compromising on the things that make you a Muslim, you are being an advocate. That's you're doing the work. And I think, to me, I personally have benefited so much from the work of people I can name and people that I'll never know. I think of, family members that I have never met, and I hear stories about them generations ago. And I think to myself, like, it was their bravery, their risk taking, their willingness to put their personal comfort aside, to recognize that this life is temporary, that has enabled so many people like me to be where we are today. And it's that idea that, for me, every morning when I wake up, I think to myself, okay, this life is temporary. I'm not going to be here forever. And all of the pains that we experience are also temporary in that process. Some days are harder than others for sure. But when you're being an advocate and you're doing that work, despite pushing up those, uphill battles, if you keep reminding yourself that this isn't going to last forever and that people are going to, in some way, shape, or form, benefit from the work you do, as long as you're putting in the good intentions, as long as you're making your du'as along the way and putting your trust in Allah, you will be fine. And that entire process, and no matter how exhausting it gets, for me at least, is just that knowledge that I've benefited so much from the tireless and thankless advocacy of others, because they're not doing it for my validation. They're doing it for the, praise of God. And that's, at the end of the day, what keeps me grounded. The minute that you turn your advocacy and activism to seek the pleasure of other people, I know there's a whole complex around this these days, like people are putting advocacy work on resumes, which is great. People talk about it in interviews, which is, again, great. I see all the med students out there. I know you know what I'm talking about. So, it's great to see that, but always remember at the end of the day that the work you do, never ever do it to seek the pleasure of other people in this life. You can do it for their du'as if they give them, that's great. But keep reminding yourself that you are doing this to show people that Islam is a religion that is going to, bring them closer to peace, is going to bring harmony to their communities. And you're doing this, out of the pleasure and for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So just wanted to say that to me is what advocacy is all about.
Thanks so much, Mina. Yara, we're going to talk a little bit about the work that you do within your company and how your company has afforded you opportunities for both professional and personal growth, and how this has helped you achieve your goals and supported your career growth.
Yeah, so when I was graduating, I had kind of always been on the route that I'm going to write my LSAT in my 3rd or 4th year, go straight into law school. By, in high school, I had already done like 3 mentorship programs for law students. It was very intense, met with professors, shadowed with law students, gone to like watch court cases, like really done a lot. That was who I was back in the day. I was really set on a specific path. When I went to university, I realized that I really enjoyed my degree, and I realized that I don't actually know what else is out there. I realized that there's so much more opportunity out there that I could see myself in. I enjoyed my degree. I was, looking at all these different companies. And one of the reasons that I ended up in the company that I am today is because I interviewed them as much as they interviewed me. So I made sure that I was selecting a place that allowed me to invest in myself, where they invested in me, and they allowed me to move and grow as I grew as a person. So whether that's, vertical, so getting promoted, or horizontal. So I've made many switches in my company in a short period of time. And that was something that looking back now, was probably the smartest thing that I did. I selected a place where I could be myself, I could change, I could grow, I could contribute, and my voice was heard, both as a young professional and as just an individual. So I don't have to hide my identity. I don't have to downplay my strengths to appeal to others or to be in someone else's shadow. That was something that even 4th year Yara couldn't anticipate. So yeah, for me, being able to scope out those opportunities, voice my interest, prepare myself, grow, figure out the skills that I was potentially lacking, working on them, and then having people that supported me within the company and pushed me to get into those roles where I could see myself having a better fit, making a better impact, and just something I wanted to try. Like, I'm going to be working for 40 plus years. I might as well see what I like. And having the support of others within a company that I felt valued me was really important. So, my career is just starting, but it's already taken many different turns.
Thanks so much. That's wonderful to hear. And finally, Ibrahim, we're going to sort of talk about your impressive role in equity, diversity, and inclusion within the medical field. Can you share with us an initiative that you're extremely proud about and that has helped shape your advocacy efforts? And then how do you find time to balance your passions of, advocating for EDI as a Black Muslim medical student, and then also your studies, which there's no doubt medical students have a lot to study. So.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Impressive, I feel like, is an overstatement and always kind of puts a lot of expectations up. But I think I'll talk about a deeply personal experience for me, which was my first day of medical school, arriving and realizing that I was the only Black medical student in the class of 169 people. I thought perhaps they were all hiding somewhere, but wasn't able to find them by day 2. And I quickly realized it wasn't really a reflection of like ability or acumen, but more a reflection of something problematic with the admissions process. And I remember initially feeling quite upset about this and like wanting to reach out to various members within our institution to address this. But thankfully, my dad advised me to exercise some pragmatism. And I think one of the things which I was motivated to do is one of the things that Mina mentioned, like your presence in some of these spaces is a form of advocacy. So my job at that point was to make myself visible to other medical students, to know that, being a Black medical student was something that was possible, but also to do my homework and figuring out how the admissions process worked and what are some of the barriers to people being able to gain entry. So after having an understanding of that process, what subsequently followed was being able to be connected with other Black medical students across the country. So I believe in 2020, there was actually an annual general meeting of the Black Medical Student Association of Canada. And through that, I was able to meet colleagues across the country who were going through similar plights and learn from how they navigated their processes. And at that time, the University of Toronto had introduced Black applicants admissions program. Or at this time, I think it was known as a Black students admissions program. And through that, we were able to learn from them on how they created that process and get mentorship from them on how they got investment from stakeholders, how they went around the barriers that were brought up. And we used that knowledge to found the Black Medical Student Association in Edmonton, and then introduced the Black Applicants Admissions Program. So this was a coordinated effort with colleagues at the University of Calgary and the University of Alberta to implement these processes in both medical schools within Alberta. And we quickly went from 1 medical student in 2019 to 6 in 2022. And my colleagues in Calgary were able to see greater numbers with 13 Black medical students in their cohort. And one thing that I will mention is that throughout these processes, there was no changes to the actual admissions criteria. What was done was that they ensured that there was representation from Black file reviewers and Black interviewers. And you saw that this created an increase in the number of students in the program. Unfortunately, I don't think I have enough time to talk about how you get the time. I think a lot of the key themes is giving back to our community and making the path of those who come after us easier than the path that we had. And alhamdulillah, I feel like with the mentorship that I have from colleagues across the country and learning from the way they did things, we were able to make a really profound progress at our school.
Great to hear. All right, so I do have one final question for all of you. And I know I had given you an approximation of 2.5 minutes, but I'm going to ask you to keep your remarks short for this question and concise. What words of advice or wisdom would you give to our 2022 scholarship recipients as they continue on their journey? And Mina, we'll start with you.
Be bold, be authentic. Like, don't try to tell somebody else's story. Don't try to live somebody else's story. Lean into your experiences. For those of you who have just come fresh out of high school, you have probably worked yourselves to the bone. If you come from one of those like GTA type competitive high schools, that wasn't me. Don't worry, I can't relate. But I know the types. I know how hard you guys have pushed yourselves. Make sure you take these for at least the first year of university to look inwards. You have probably spent a lot of time looking out externally, whether it's comparing yourself to other people, whether it's looking on social media, but take this time to lean inwards, get focused on the areas that really matter to you, the ones that you feel you can personally speak to, and find community. I think everyone here is going to tell you that not only is the Max Scholarship Program a community, but in your universities, in the schools you go to, the opportunity you've been afforded, you can make connections and friendships that are going to be lifelong with people who are going to help you change the world. It's not a one-person task. And when you bring other people on that journey with you, not only do you, all put that barakat into your work, but you're putting it out into communities that you're never even going to see. And it'll happen in your lifetime. So just think about that and really make sure that, you're not walking this journey alone. So yeah, not the most fancy advice, but I think that's what I would boil it down to. Don't mind the British accent. I don't know where that came from.
Thanks so much, Mina. That's great. Ibrahim, I was trying to give you a breather between your last question, but if you could answer that question as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the main two things that I will say is to seek mentorship. I think Baidad mentioned in her speech the importance of reaching out to people. And it was a theme that was echoed throughout the different discussions that were had today. I was able to make progress during the med school application process because I reached out to people who had done it before. You hear about people who like cure cancer and have 20 publications and didn't get in, and you're like, how can I do it? And I think, being really familiar. I know Ahmed was talking about it too while applying to residency. It's a key, and I would highly recommend it to all of you. And the second thing would be to surround yourself with people who believe in you even more than you believe in yourself, because self-doubt is inevitable. And I think having those pillars around you is always something that can help you push through. Sorry, I lied. Third thing, you need to have faith and like pray to God. Like, we're all Muslims here, and I feel like that was the one superpower I always felt that I could have, that if Allah was on my side, then nobody could stop me. And I feel like when you have that connection, you have that feeling of oversight and protection, you really do feel the strength to be able to overcome any challenges you face.
Awesome. Yara, do you have anything else that you'd like to add as well?
Yes, I think for me, the biggest piece of advice is give yourself grace. You're going into a new chapter of your life. You might not be the smartest person in the room anymore, or the most accomplished, or you might, you're going to grow into even better, well-rounded adult. That comes with challenges, both personal and professional. So give yourself grace, give yourself time, space, and surround yourself with people that care about you, care about your growth over the long run. It's not always easy, but with hard work, consistent hard work, and giving yourself the grace and kindness that you would give others is going to really go a long way. And the second thing is give yourself flexibility and options. The world is a big place. You never know where you're going to be in 20 years. So if something doesn't work out or you've been redirected, see that as an opportunity. There's so much out there for you to experience. You don't even know most of it yet. So be excited.
And certainly last but not least, Ahmed, the final words from you.
Honestly, the advice that's already been said is amazing. I don't know what else to add. I think a combination of what Mina said, like inwardly reflecting, trying to find what core values you have, and working around those, like, having those non-negotiables. I think even Nabeela mentioned that earlier in her speech. And just, whatever you can, you're going to get busier in your career, as Yara said as well. And whatever small time you may have, even small contributions to this community, to any community, you never know what kind of impact you're going to have on somebody in the future, and who you're going to pass the baton on to.
Excellent. Thank you all so much. I'm being very conscious of time, and we want to be respectful of everyone's time. So I think we will forego the question and answer period for this panel. Unfortunately, I know there's probably a million questions that are cultivating in our attendees' minds to ask you, but I'm sure you're able to find these four panelists on social media and reach out to them if you have any particular questions, or you can ask us and we'll sort of reach out to them on your behalf. One of the things that I did want to echo from what was being said is that we are all traveling on our own personal journey, and it's really important that we don't compare our journeys with others. That will be a detriment to your success and what success will look like for you. A lot of the things that were said is be mindful of what you would like to achieve. Sort of always take a step back as well, and reflect on where you have come and where you are now and where you would like to be. That is something absolutely crucial to making sure that you really are going on the journey that you want to be. I want to thank all the panelists, Yara, Mina, Ibrahim, and Ahmed. You guys were great to hear, and thank you for sharing your personal journeys and the stories that you brought.
Thank you, Nahida, and thank you to our panelists and all of our speakers this evening. We are so humbled and incredibly honored to have you share your experiences. Now, as we near the end of our reception event, we wanted to highlight a few next steps for the students. After that, we will have breakout rooms for all sponsors and students to meet with one another. Till now, you have all shared your details with the MSF team, but please do if you haven't already. These details are important for us to pay your tuition and provide tax receipts at the end of the year. Then, for what you're all waiting for, your school will receive your scholarship funds. And then you will wrap up your time with Max by giving back to the community and volunteering with Max and British TO as a requirement of winning the scholarship. Lastly, we ask that you continue to spread the word about Max and MSF so that others can be awarded for their accomplishments just like yourselves. We're also sending out some amazing gift boxes to you all that Yasmin and Aisha worked tirelessly to ship out. Once you receive those, please do take those pictures and tag us online.
And lastly, we're not going to end the presentation without thanking all of our volunteers, sponsors, judges, and markers. You continue to be a critical part of this process, and we couldn't do any of this without you. May all your efforts bring good into the lives of others, and may God be pleased with our intentions and actions. We also wanted to remind you that you're able to stay connected, and we encourage you to stay connected with Max and the Muslim Max Scholarships Funds program through social media or by signing up for our newsletters. You'll receive a lot of information about the sort of programming that we have to offer, volunteering opportunities, and a lot of the things that we host, not just for MSF, but also, the Aspire, the business, the leadership programs that Max offers. Before we end the evening, we just wanted to share a short video, very short, I promise. It's 1.5 minutes of the impact from the Max Scholarship programs over the years.
Hard work, prayer, patience, and finally, having full faith and trust in God.
Put your head down and do the work. And don't forget to look up every once in a while and make sure you're going in the right direction.
Don't be afraid to fail, because talent will only get you so far in life. Hard work and persistence will carry you through to the end.
And try to stay humble, try to stay hungry, and try to be self-aware of who you are and how you affect other people.
When you worked hard and you've climbed up that ladder and you finally made it to the top and you're incredibly happy, celebrate. You've made it. Rejoice. But don't forget to lean back down, give a hand, and help anyone else who's still climbing up that ladder, as it is now your responsibility to pass it on.
All right, this video is on our social media platforms. This officially brings our evening to an end. If you're a winner or a sponsor for this year, please stay online and we'll place you in your breakout rooms to meet one another. For everyone else, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. And we look forward to engaging you further in the near future as well.